Hello, everybody. Welcome to Infinite Horizon. Um, we are here with you tonight for some more sci-fi supers action. Or, like, maybe not action. Who knows? We never know what's going to happen.
We're just gonna sit for 3 hours.
That's right. We're just going to sit here. We're going to have a staring contest. Ready? Here we go. Okay, we're done. So...
I would have had
Y'all
it.
lost.
I would have had it.
Yeah.
It was a ruse. You say we're done, so everyone blinks, and then you win. Ugh, cheating fool. All right, sorry, move on.
All right.
Can't
Wait a minute.
trust him.
There's no way to regulate this with the chat. We have no idea whether. This requires some thinking. Anyway.
This is where the regulators came in to be. I'm just kidding.
Anyways, welcome to Infinite Horizon.
Yeah.
Welcome to Infinite Horizon. Well, as usual, we have some announcements at the beginning of the stream. Henry.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. There are a bunch of good ways to keep in touch with us and support us if you are able and so inclined. I will not go into immense detail about them, but I'll drop the links in chat right now. Something I do want to point out is that this show, Infinite Horizon, is not just available here as a stream, but you can also catch it on our YouTube, or you can listen to it in podcast form. And those go up respectively 2 and a few days after our Wednesday streams. So I know that we have we've gained a few people who I think mostly take the show in those forms, and we're so happy that you're able to enjoy it like that. And if you can ever find your way to a live stream, that would be cool too. Either way. So
shout out to VOD Squad and podcast
shout out
friends.
to VOD Squad.
Yeah, VOD Squad.
And I know I've mentioned this before, but Lemon Twist keeps pumping out fan art.
Oh my god.
Thank you so much.
It's just so good.
It's so awesome. Yeah. And you can
So
see
cool.
that on our Discord, or look for Lemon Twist on Twitter. It's so gratifying. I don't know. I'm so happy that something in this inspires you to make art. That's such a good feeling. So thank you for that, and thank you for everybody.
I gotta say, most recently, yes, echoing Henry and say thank you so much to our VOD Squad, to the Pod Squad, to the...
there you go.
The Pod Squad. I like it.
All sorts of odd squad.
There you go. But also to Lemon Twist and our other fan artists. But I gotta say, most recently, Lemon Twist did a piece of the rest of the crew, like Jade and Abriel and Alma, and that was that's been my favorite so far, because he nailed it. He hit it right on the head with them, and it was just so perfect. Especially Jade, so good. Anyway.
Anyways,
yeah.
Thanks everyone who's supporting us. We love you all very much.
Yeah.
You see that picture and you're like, oh, Jade's 18.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
It's a kid.
Also, there's not really a reason to announce this, I don't think, but I am going to talk about it anyway because I'm excited about it. But our very own moderator, Derpanduin, Nico, is running D&D 5th edition Combat Gauntlet, and I'm very excited about it. And that's it. That's the announcement.
yeah. And if you join the Discord, you could have been in it yourself.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. You could.
I think there's gonna be more. I'm so excited. Yeah.
I know he has a lot of plans for it. He's been kind of on and off talking to me about hinting at stuff. Anyway, I'm very excited.
Nice.
Okay. Well, here we are. Everybody ready? Everybody feeling good? I am.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I feel like we're all very high energy today, which I'm very excited about.
I've been pacing a lot today.
Me too.
Something, yeah.
Earth Day, man. It's Earth Day.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we will be right back after this amazing intro, which I never get tired of. Here we go.
Someone say this is the end. We're surrounded, but we won't give in. No. Who will save us? Who will save us?
Hello, we are back. Sorry, I was in the middle of talking when the intro finished, so it might have started looping. I don't know if it does that, but anyway, it's not supposed to. It's not set. It's specifically set so it doesn't. Anyway.
It could happen.
All right. Well, now that we're here, I just realized once again that I forgot to set up sound sharing. And unlike last time, I don't care if the audience sees me doing it. So here we go. I'm going to do it right now. I'm doing it live.
Nice.
Do it live.
Doing it live.
Yep, that's right. It's very exciting. And look at that. There's a big... Actually, I don't even know if they can see it. Okay. I've done it. I am now sharing.
Excellent.
Oh, man. It's a weird day. Okay.
Give us those good tunes. I'm ready to game.
Oh, I was just setting it up to... I wasn't actually playing anything. I'm just kidding. I was definitely going to play something. So, previously on Infinite Horizon, let me know if the sound is okay, both chat and you guys here. So, previously on Infinite Horizon, there was a pretty daring plan after the crew of Awakener sort of joined a resistance movement in an independent system with a plan to seize a corrupt baron's source of capital, which is in this case an ore mine on a planet within the system. The plan involved hijacking shuttles, cargo shuttles, using them to sneak into the prison facility, getting inside the perimeter defense shields before they were automatically triggered, and then releasing the prisoners held within and distributing firearms amongst them. The plan
Rally the people.
Rally the people. We will do incite glorious people's revolution.
Ease the means of production.
Yeah. So okay, I will say it took every ounce of self-control I had not to just call the episode that. But I had already established it with a part 1, part 2 sort of thing, so it was too late. Anyway, the plan went mostly smoothly with a brief altercation in one of the actual holding cells, in one of the cell blocks, which was handled pretty efficiently by our super powered crew and their strike team, with a clutch moment by Peach pulling out like this illusory like reinforcements that just sort of appeared out of nowhere, scaring the shit out of the defenders. After that, it was actually a relatively easy path to the control center to take control of the mining operation as a whole. After a sort of close call with the warden, Bino was able to subdue him before he put up any additional countermeasures, and with that, the whole facility was under their control, and under that of the resistance. At the end of last episode, if you'll recall, when the kind of leader of the resistance, as far as you are aware, came down from orbit, and having completed their mission, their part of the mission, and asked the crew of Awakener to stick around for a few more days, because in their words, the Baron still believes that this situation can be salvaged, and it's time for us to send him a message. And so, agreeing to stick around for a few more days, the crew of Awakener began a tense waiting game to wait out any retaliatory efforts by Baron Peake. So, that's actually where we'll be starting today. So, I'm going to go ahead and say, for the sake of this, that what I told everybody ahead of time is that we were going to kind of move through, not to try to not bog us down into like additional combat encounters, what we're going to do now, which I'll repeat to all of you, is so over the next few days, you sort of are playing the waiting game, waiting on the Baron's response, whatever it might be. And sure enough, it comes. Several shuttles arrive barely a day later after you've taken control. You've managed to establish yourselves, and the Resistance, by that I mean the Resistance, on this mining colony, which actually functions pretty solidly as an impromptu fortress. There are few ways to get on board. The defense shield was built for exactly this, to keep... Ooh, I saw Gemini Lightning. Thank you for the subscribe.
Woo!
With that, it actually... So the defense... The shields were built to do exactly this, to stave off any potential incursions. Although I doubt this is exactly what the Baron had in mind when he had them commissioned. But, sure enough, the attack comes, the retaliation comes. It is a series of shuttles that land. While you have control of the mining facility itself and its defenses, with your limited resources, it's very difficult to keep control of the skies, and therefore drop shuttles come pretty quickly. So here's how we're going to do this. We are going to narratively pass through sort of this retaliatory effort, and what I'm going to have you guys do is tell me we'll kind of go around and we'll just sort of describe how you help with the efforts to repel the invaders. So we'll start with Caitlin and Bina. What does Bina do?
Okay, so you let me know if this is feasible.
Uh-huh.
Could Bina and maybe Alma, could she take the Awakener up and kind of be eyes in the sky to give heads up?
Yeah.
So I could use essentially I would like to use my all tasks involving sight and my piloting to try to benefit, to give people heads up, waves incoming, where are they, what are their tactics, because we have our kind of like quiet mode.
Yeah.
And is that doable, or are we kind of stuck down? Are we stuck planet side?
That's totally doable. So the way that I think I'm going to do this is I'm going to start as like it's going to be kind of it's going to be kind of like an extended task basically. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to have like this whole thing start out at like, this whole defense of this place is going to start out at a pretty high difficulty, and with each of your successive checks, it'll like lower.
Excellent.
And to the end, kind of at the end, we will sort of tally up and then have like a final roll to determine like the defenses of this place. So we're starting off with like the total difficulty is going to be starting off at a difficulty 8. That's the difficulty of like the whole thing, not of your specific task here.
Okay,
Caitlin.
well I think I can do that.
Okay, so so we're gonna start. Your specific task is to kind of keep an eye out for the defense, like the kind of the perimeter, make sure that you see them coming before.
My goal is to give them an advantage.
Okay.
Is kind of my hope. Yeah.
Okay, so this will be a difficulty 5 task.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Have we rested, or is this immediately after?
No, this is like later.
Okay.
So you would have been
up my pools.
Yeah, all your pools are restored.
We love to hear that.
Resources. Yeah.
Yeah, we love to hear it.
All right. So this is gonna be an intellect task.
Excellent. Will like task involving sight and piloting both help here, or are those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's down 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Immediately.
Mhm.
And then I'll spend for the rest.
All right. Nice. So
It was 5, right?
Yeah, that was the difficult. So you don't even have to roll here.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Bina, you use fly a perimeter, and as such, you have a pretty solid feeling that you've got the skies covered. Between you and coordinating efforts with some of the resistance ships that are here.
Oh wait, would Alma help? Would Alma be an asset in this?
Yeah, actually. So
okay, then I wouldn't need to spend.
Yeah, you don't need to spend on that.
I get excited about spending and then I forget that I might have other things that help me. So yeah, there you go. There.
So you establish a pretty solid network, like sort of scout network, helming it yourself with your sort of superior eyesight. You fly the skies and prepare. As such, the base has additional warning, which drops the overall difficulty down to 7 of the base's defense. Anybody in particular want to go next, or?
I can go if I was thinking. So I think Peach is gonna kind of be playing a pretty big, like more of a support role at this point. I think she's gonna be going to specifically like people who are like holding our force field and like basically just holding the planet and kind of making sure they sleep peacefully and getting enough rest. Like she's going to be using her ability to make sure that they're well rested, because that's like a really big help in combat situations.
Absolutely.
And then she's also, I think, going to go and kind of like use her pleasant social interaction and kind of encouragement and really make people feel very like, you know, this is the righteous action, like kind of going around like really rallying the troops a little bit. Like that's kind of her role. I think.
Okay. So I think for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the difficulty at 5 on that one as well. And you can use one of the two like powers that you mentioned, like encouragement and like the sleep assistance thing. You can choose one of those to act as an asset in this case. It's up to you which one you like, but yeah, so the difficulty is 5. This is gonna be an intellect task.
Okay, well, I'm specialized with my tier up. I'm specialized now in pleasant social interactions, so that knocks it down.
Yeah.
Specialization knocks it down 2 levels, right?
So that brings it down to 3. Sorry. I'm sorry. I sort of think I smell something burning in this room. 1 second.
Take care of that.
It might be the light, but we'll see.
Oh no.
Are we cursed tonight?
Fire.
Why? What else happened? No,
all right, here's the plan. While he's gone, this is what my character is gonna do. I'm gonna do weird shit with the tractor beams that were mentioned on being on the landing pads.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if that works.
Interesting.
I hope Lucas's house isn't on fire.
Yeah. That would be bad.
Hey chat, how are you doing? How's it going? Oh, he's back. Okay.
Oh, good.
No fire.
All right, it's all good. It was from the other room, and somebody's cooking something. Anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's good.
Razor.
Everything's fine. False alarm, everybody.
Good, no fire.
Yeah, that would not be.
Tell them they need to put water in the Easy Mac.
Yeah. All right. So
that brings it down to 2, and then I can't also use the like putting folks to sleep ability, can't I?
Well, you can use that like I said, treat that as an asset in this case.
Okay.
So that brings us down to 2, difficulty 2.
Yeah, and I have a power shift in that. Does that make
not in this case?
Not do anything?
No, I'm treating it as an asset because otherwise, like then it's sort of like 2 different roles that we're doing.
Yeah. Okay,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I really have anything else, so I'm gonna spend.
Okay. And that brings us down to a difficulty 1.
Yeah, or I could spend 2 levels of effort.
Up to you.
I'm gonna spend 2 levels of effort just to have it succeed.
Sounds good. Well, in that case, Peach, during this time, you correctly anticipate that it's going to be a tense time, that the resistance fighters are used to their sort of hit and run missions, their guerrilla tactics. They are not used to prepared for either in like logistically or like emotionally, mentally prepared for a sort of a siege situation, which is what this is gearing up quickly to be. Knowing that and anticipating that, Peach becomes sort of a beacon of hope to these people as she sort of moves around from group to group, sort of kind of stamping out those hopeless, the sense of hopelessness wherever she sees it arising, helping to get people the resources they need as where it's available, and encouraging them to sleep, encouraging them not to lose hope, that their position is one that they're on the side of right, and for a lot of people that's enough. So successfully bolstered, the resistance movement does not suffer from many of the difficulties that you would expect people going into a siege situation, seemingly eased by Peach's mere presence in many cases. So, that will bring the overall difficulty down to a 6. So, Mason Olam.
I'll go next.
All right.
Sure.
I got a question though for you, Game Master. When they're bringing in shuttles, where are they landing? Are they landing on like the platforms that we landed on, or are they landing further away?
They would probably. I mean, they don't have to land on the platforms, but probably that's where they would be going. Yes.
Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to maybe gather some like engineering-minded people with me, if there are any such, and then using, I guess, changing the mechanics or like any kind of computer programming stuff, alter how the tractor beams work, the tractor beams that are built into the platforms.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
To either to gain such range that they disrupt the flight and knock the ships out of the sky, or just like screw with them once they've landed.
Okay.
Basically change them into it in like, instead of a tool just to force people to stay here, just a disruptive tool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now the fun thing about tractor beams is that they function much the way Olam's powers do, in that they are an artificially projected gravity field.
Yeah.
So, as such, although Olam, you're not entirely sure that you're super familiar with like the mechanisms of tractor beams, you understand the physics behind them. That's the part that you get. So, as such, let's have you make a roll. This is going to be an intellect roll. It's going to be a difficulty of a 5.
Okay. Would power shifts that affected knowledge, science, or crafting apply here?
Mm-hmm.
Yay! So that brings it down by 2.
Yep. So
to 3.
3.
Yikes. Let's see. Would training in computers in general help with this, do you think?
It could actually, yeah. I think it. No, and the reason it does is because you have to work on the calibration of the tractor beams, and it's a lot of it is math and computers. That's pretty much like what you're dealing with here.
Great. Yeah, like ideally I want it to be so I can control them and like press buttons to move them around and like screw with the shit.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So it's down to a difficulty 2.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just gonna roll.
Okay.
Nice.
I want to. Okay. Everybody else is spending what I'm doing it.
Okay.
Do it.
Do
Roll.
It's fun to roll. You never know.
19.
Ooh.
Yay.
Minor effect.
Minor effect. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That's up to you in this instance. Actually, if you want, we can actually say that the minor effect is that you're able to like rig it up to be controlled.
Exactly. That's what I want. So that like basically in real time, I can like change what the tractor beams do and how they work.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
or not just me, but anybody at the controls could do that.
Wow, so sick.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely. You're at the changing the functionality of the tractor beams isn't the hard part. The difficult part is rigging it up to be basically taking a system that's not intended to be used this way, and rigging it up in such a way that it can be controlled just sort of at will. Generally, the way these tractor beams work, different tractor beam systems work differently. Some of them can be directed. These are designed to essentially prevent takeoff, so they're not intended for like actually tracking a target and like halting it as it's leaving.
They're just like a really high-tech boot for shuttles.
Pretty much, yeah, essentially. But so the real genius of this plan comes sort of towards the end, once you've finished rigging them up, where Olim, you actually find a way of actually piggybacking the controls for the tractor beam. You find a way of piggybacking those controls off of the same controls that are used for like the crane system that's used to offload cargo.
Oh, that's so sick.
And it's just sort of this like kind of inspired moment at the end, as you're sort of like taking kind of a disappointed, defeated look at this, and then you realize, wait a minute, and you kind of glance around, you realize that the systems are actually very similar, and with a little bit of tinkering, you're able to like set them up so that you can actually not only extend the range and like use them for disrupting flight patterns, but also can like direct them from the control center. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So I see this as that I like at some point I physically went out to one of the platforms with some other people, like tinkering stuff if need be, like nervously glancing at the sky pretty frequently, maybe seeing a Awakener up there sometimes, and then getting back inside as soon as possible, as soon as it's like I've made a functional change.
Right. All right, which brings the overall defense down to a 5. So, Mason, what are you working on?
I'm oscillating between two different
Sure.
things, so I just don't know how. So after Olim tinkers and with this process, how many ships are repelled?
Well, this is sort of the preparation phase, so this isn't like a thing that's happening as we're going.
Oh, sorry.
So this is more preparation.
In that case, my choice is made. I will go around and give what little, with the time we have, I'll give as much small arms training as I can to individuals who've probably never even seen a gun or know how to use it properly. Yeah,
that's completely fair. Especially like the Resistance, they've been doing this for a bit. A lot of them, they're still rough. But one of the things that you learn about the Resistance movement is that a lot of them are members of the former police that were disbanded in favor of the mercenaries that the Baron hired. So a lot of them actually know what they're doing. However, the prisoners, that's a different story. Prisoners were mostly civilians, and they're the ones that, as you're kind of walking around, you can actually see need the help. So kind of making your way around, talking to different people, giving pointers, kind of like altering their grip just slightly. So go ahead. We'll make this a roll. This is also gonna be an intellect roll, actually. Cool. So the difficulty of this is gonna be 5.
Okay.
And I will say that. Go ahead.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
No, continue. Just
okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask if using small arms would be.
Yeah, you're trained in light and medium weapons, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an explorer, yeah.
Yeah, so that's absolutely going to come into play here.
I don't really know if I have anything that is catered towards training people, actually. So.
Actually, I do think that with your descriptor, you might actually have an inability here, depending on what it is. Do you have an? What is
because of
What is your inability?
Guarded.
Yeah, from guarded.
From guarded. Oh, I think I can't. Well, I have that. Oops, I have it bookmarked.
Because the specific wording of what this inability is, it will matter because I can't fully recall it.
Your suspicious nature makes you unlikable. That's
Oh,
the difficulty of any task involving deception or persuasion is increased by 1 step.
So okay, so
Oh
that's
my
not actually going to come into play here because this is
Yeah.
neither of those things.
Yeah.
Because you're not persuading anybody of anything, and you're not
And I'm not-
deceiving
like-
anybody.
I'm not
like, I
deceiving.
don't like him, but he's right.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, he's like, listen,
Yeah.
I don't like you, and you don't like me, but we
He's
got a
good
job to
teacher.
do.
He's just not a very charismatic one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You're a terrible man.
Poor bedside manner, okay?
Or shooting range side man.
Yeah.
Poor bedside manner, great doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a theme.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at least I don't have anything going against me with that.
Right. So that's why I asked you to look it up because I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
I knew it was specific, but I just couldn't remember exactly what. I couldn't remember if it was like that or if it was in pleasant social interactions because then that would have affected this. So
Yes. That would have definitely. But I honestly don't
Pleasant
think.
or otherwise.
yeah.
I don't think I have anything that'll help me out. Here.
Okay. So this is from what I'm understanding. This is coming down to it. You know what? I'll actually allow your light weapons and medium weapons training to count separately because those are two different skills and you're using them both here. Right, because you're
Okay.
training different people on the use of different
Fair.
weapons. So I'll allow them to count separately. So this is in total going to be a difficulty 3, which is a 9 or better. Unless you want to spend effort.
Let's send a message. I'm gonna spend some effort
All
to
right.
send a message, or get us ready. Get
Sounds
us ready
good.
to send a message. Spend some effort.
All right.
Uh,
So that brings us down to a difficulty
Draft a
2.
text.
all right.
So,
I'm
6
good
or
with a
better.
2. I'm good with a 2. That's a 4.
Oof. Okay.
You want to do you have XP? Do you have XP?
I do have XP.
You can reroll if you want.
I do. I will.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me. I forget about XP being used that way.
I think about it all the time.
That's a 14.
Okay. Perfect. So with that, you're able to sort of go around and offer help wherever you can, pointers here and there. And you actually, this is very much like that scene from that episode of The Mandalorian where you're just sort of like going around and like training the villagers, doing like that sort of like side up shooting range sort of thing. Actually, I could imagine like one of the cell blocks having been converted into like a makeshift shooting range.
Hell yeah.
And just sort of like setting up targets, and yeah. So with that, you're actually able to do a fair bit. They do show some marked improvement. Of course, the bar was set pretty low, so there's really nowhere to go but up in most cases. But
Yeah.
up they went. So
That's good. That's good.
all right. So the overall defense of this place comes down, I believe, to a difficulty 4 in total. I would say that we have enough. You guys, after all this preparation, would have enough time to do one more thing. And whoever would like to take that one.
Does this facility have like turrets on it or anything? Does it have actual weapons?
No, actually, it has.
Would it?
It has like the closest thing it has to that is like fire suppression units. But you can see where they could go, but it seems like they were not a priority when like this place was being built. So there are emplacements for them, but there are not actual like weapons turrets. Caitlin, you look like you have an idea.
I have a thought, and it's out there, and it would be something
It's my
we're making up.
favorite kind.
Let's hear it.
And this would be a Bina thing, and I don't know if this would be fully useful or anything, but since we're out in orbit, Bina's aware at this point that she can kind of project onto other people emotionally a little bit. I'm wondering if I could make like a spend for an area effect from her. I'll drop like fucking 10 points if you want me to for this. I don't mind, like, to project from up here to this incoming ships an aura of fear. Can I make them apprehensive about this to maybe fuck with like their resolve or make them make bad decisions?
I love it. It's You're absolutely right. It's going to be an expensive
Huge
spend.
spend.
It's going to be an expensive spend.
Alma can fly. It's fine.
Yeah. So, but I will allow it.
Awesome.
So essentially, the way this plays out is, Bina, as you're doing sort of a flyover, Alma, who is kind of in her corporeal form, just sort of seated in the co-pilot seat, suddenly looks up, and you starting to kind of get used to this, immediately glance from Alma to your displays, and you watch as like multiple ships dropping out of FTL are on screen. The two of you kind of make eye contact. Alma nods, and you, Bina, begin preparing. So the spend for this, as you see them, you begin focusing on these shuttles. Looking at them, there's probably about 6 drop shuttles in total. They are relatively spread out, but in an area you think you might be able to affect. This is nothing that you've ever done before, but looking at them, and kind of glancing down towards the planet, this might be one of your only shots of success here. So, the spend on this one, this is gonna require a spend of 6 intellect.
Oh, okay. I was angling for 10. That's fine. I'm in the bag.
In addition to whatever, like,
So this was I'm basically using, like, it's kind of a combo of several of my abilities, but like at a range, and all of my abilities are 1 in spend, so 7 then total.
Yeah. Yep.
Without edge. Do you want edge to eat anything?
Yeah, I mean that's how it works.
Okay. So. Okay. So then back down to 6. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay. So this is going to be an intellect roll, and the difficulty on this one is going to be 6.
Oh fuck. All right. Let's see.
It's a really tough thing, but if you pull it off, it's going to be a huge advantage.
Okay. Do I have any sort of asset because they don't know we're here or anything like that? We're up here? That I have eyes on them, they don't have eyes on me?
No, I don't think that would affect this at all.
Okay. Task sensing emotions, dispositions.
Yeah, I think that'll come into play.
Social interactions, pleasant or otherwise.
It's not technically a social interaction,
it's not a social
unless
interaction.
you want to contact them while you're doing this.
Oh man, I don't know if I have any mean words in me right now.
Just mean thoughts.
No, Bina
Yeah,
would give
'cause
them
her-
her name.
She would. No. No. Because I don't know, we've been flavoring a lot of her abilities as empathic and not social, so I don't know if that will help here.
I will say it could, and the reason is it's almost like you know how like when you're learning something, having different sensory input makes it easier to learn, right? Like how some people talk about like when you're studying, chew a specific flavor of gum because it helps you like recall that kind of thing. It's about like the different sensory input. So it actually could potentially help here if you wanted to do that.
Okay.
If you're not into it, then that's fine.
No, I just don't know how I have to think of something to say that isn't just being a rambling.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't make a charismatic character. I'm going to. Okay, this is just a grab. Does tasks involving sight help? Because I can see where they are. I know where to put it. Probably not. No. Okay, that's fine.
No.
All right. Okay. Bina's gonna basically do like a through all frequencies to hit all the ships, kind of like a like tossing a signal out there.
Basically, just a wide beam transmission. Yep.
And she's just going to say, she's not gonna introduce her. She's not gonna say anything. She's just gonna say, "This is not a fight. You can win," and then end the call. And like that's her. That's the scariest that Vina's capable of, I think. And that's my or otherwise.
Right. That's your or otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then you can bring that into play here. So.
All right. So emotions, dispositions, social interactions, or otherwise.
Mhm. So that brings it down to a
Fuck! I
difficulty
put my
4.
power shifts in enthrall, so that's not gonna help here.
Yeah, so we're at difficulty 4 now, right? Is that
4? Yeah.
Okay.
And then I will spend for 2 levels of effort,
Okay.
and I've already done edge, so that's 5.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's 4 down to 1. Down to 2? No.
2.
2.
Yeah.
2.
Because you dropped it 2 more levels after the 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I forgot what the total was.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So 6 or better.
Whoa. 6, 2.
Bina.
Okay.
Oh no.
4. I'm spending an XP to reroll.
Okay.
Do it.
Ugh.
Bina.
Scare the space pants right off.
Ugh, this is all gonna feel so bad if I can't make this.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
3.
Oh. Oof.
I don't know if I can spend more than 1 XP on a roll.
You
Can
can. Yeah.
Alright. Switching dice. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah. Put the other dice
You
away.
guys!
Just pause. Bless your own dice.
I don't think that works. 3 again.
Are you serious?
Oh my
You
gosh.
guys!
Oh my god.
Man.
Oof.
All right. Well.
Do I want to spend another one?
Can
I really
can-
want this to work!
Can we
Roll
give
4
Can we
dice.
give XP for
Yeah.
Bina to use?
Absolutely.
I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to
Okay.
reroll. with
Okay.
one of
Yeah,
my-
I didn't know we
Okay.
can't. Even though we're
You
not there, we
guys.
can give XP.
Huh?
Even though we're not there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's good.
it's
Oh,
a
I didn't-
meta thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
You guys.
I didn't know that.
17! Fuck!
It was
Wow.
Henry's help.
Okay.
You guys,
So-
that task cost 11 points of intellect and 3 XP.
Yeah. So.
Fuck it, we're having it happen.
This is happening. I had to come up with a line, and it wasn't even that good. Let this work.
It was good.
It was good. No.
Okay, let's
So. Bina, even from this distance, you can feel the wave of uncertainty pass through like everyone in those shuttles. You can feel it, that you've rattled them to their core. Something in between the outward confidence of Bina's statement, the exertion of her powers, of her newfound powers, and just basically the unknown from their perspective that they're like walking into. Somewhere in between all of that, you find a way to reach into sort of a primal part of their minds, and you shake them. You can feel that sort of discord that you sowed start to spread through. They don't change course, but you can feel it. From the outside, it looks like nothing has changed, but you, Bina, you know. And as such,
Holy shit.
I have
for
goosebumps
everything
on
that you
my
dropped
arm.
into that, everything that you spent for that one, the difficulty is dropping by 3,
Whoa, nice.
which brings us to a total difficulty of 1 for the defense of this place. So,
Man. Wow.
Man, we gotta roll.
oh yeah, just one of you, just be the representative party here and roll the final defense of this place.
I'm in Atmo. I'm
Yeah.
gone. Someone grounded has
I
to.
can use my metal die.
All right.
Okay, then.
Metal die for
Metal-
defense of
Wait,
an
should I
ore
use my
mine.
metal die or my rainbow, like
Ooh.
iridescent D20? What do we feel?
Ooh.
Your
I don't
call.
know.
What feels right?
I think that metal is better for defense. So.
All right. This is a difficulty 1 task. It is
3 or better?
3 or better. It doesn't matter what kind of roll it is because I'm not going to allow effort spends here. But
All the things we just did are all the assets that just went
Basically,
into this level 8
yeah,
check.
essentially. So this is literally just. I think this is just going to be a straight roll, like no anything. It's just 3 or better on the d20.
Okay.
All right.
All right. 18.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Oh.
Knocked some other dice over.
Yep, that's
So-
right.
So
Is 18 a minor effect in combat?
it's damage. It's extra damage. But
Oh, damage.
that doesn't-
Okay. Well,
that doesn't
hey,
matter here.
fucking hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Let him up a bit.
So, the way this plays out is actually pretty spectacular. Being shaken as they were by Bina, they are not prepared for the assault of the the modified tractor beams that Olam is controlling, using them to send shuttles careening down to the planet's surface. Mostly they're able to get to it causes mostly just it doesn't disrupt any of the shuttle systems, so they're mostly able to stabilize the shuttles, but many of them land way off course. With the worst ones easily about 20 miles from your location. The rest of them, the ones that do make it, probably about 2 shuttles in total that actually manage to make it, are easily handled. Like, the troops within those shuttles are easily handled by a combination of the trained resistance, the well-rested resistance, and at the fact that they were not expecting the kind of opposition that they met upon getting here. That plus Bina's chilling message to them. Eventually, some of them surrender outright. Some of them retreat to the shuttles, and those shuttles take off. But a significant number of them just drop their weapons and turn themselves over to you. All in all, the whole thing is over in about half an hour.
Yeah.
It was a... Wynn wanted you to send a message, and you sent a devastating one. Based on the number of people that came out of the 2 shuttles that made it, you would have had a real fight on your hands if all of them had managed to actually touch down where they were supposed to. As it stands now, there are a couple dozen mercenary troops in your custody, and easily 3 or 4 times as many that are currently in need of rescue out on the barren surface of a planet that has no breathable atmosphere.
Yep.
Does it look like the shuttles were damaged beyond being able to take off themselves? Those ones that landed far away?
Some of them, it's hard to say. Some of them looks like they sustained damage to a point where, but nothing that they wouldn't be able to repair.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to. Good. I'm
Right.
not blowing people up. I'm just
yeah, and like
tricking them a little bit.
what you rigged up wouldn't have that effect on these shuttles. Mostly,
Right.
it's exactly what you said. It's like fucking with gravity, essentially, and making it very difficult for them to actually achieve like a safe entry velocity, which then basically just like rams them into the ground in many places in a way that causes some damage that they're going to be tending to for a while. As such, their ability to coordinate an assault is gone. So, after that whole encounter, Amazingly, you did not lose a single person. Not one.
Holy shit.
It is a devastating loss for the Baron. At one point, as you all kind of reconvene, Wynn sort of in the command center of the mining facility, Wynn glances up from the central pedestal, kind of the ring of consoles, and they look up and just kind of give a quick sort of sideways grin, and they say, "Well, message received, I think."
That really worked. That really worked well, didn't it? Look at that.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
I think Bina's a little bit like zoned out, like kind of
Bina's like drained.
unfocused. I've never had this low of an intellect pool before in this entire game we've played.
Yeah.
Recovery roll.
I think yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. Wynn says, "Okay, so the hard part's over, but we're not out of the woods yet. I still need a couple of days to send envoys to the Silver Break delegation. Let them know who's in charge of their potential money-making opportunity here. Tell them they've got somebody new to deal with. Once we get a response from them, we'll know better where we stand, and then you're free to go wherever you need to go."
Good.
In the meantime, just be at the ready. Who knows? The Baron might try again, but in my experience, he may be an evil ass, but he's not an idiot.
I hope he'll recognize that it's time to cut his losses for now.
Let's hope. In the meantime, keep your comms close, and I'll let you know if anything changes. I'm not very good at people, really, but thanks.
Well, you're welcome.
They immediately turn and begin issuing orders to some of the others who are in the command center with them. As you understand yourselves to basically no longer be needed for the time being.
I step over to wherever Bina is, and kind of is Caitlin? Is that would be kind of
Yes.
like zoned out?
Yeah.
I like kind of lean in like gently and try to catch her gaze, and I just say, I don't know what you did up there, but I was able, while I was on the controls over there, to catch some of their comm chatter, and those people were terrified of I'm not sure what, but so
Me, I'm very scary.
that's what
I
I
noticed.
Well,
You scared him good, Bina?
I'll be more careful. Yeah. Whew.
Good for you.
Ruffled them up a little bit before they came down. And I might need a nap. That's to be seen. But how much? Wait, what is a one action recovery roll? Is it a D6?
Yep. D6
Yeah, it's a
plus
D6.
plus your tier.
Plus your-
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh no.
One.
No.
You need me to mail
It's
you
fine.
better dice, Caitlin.
I don't know what's up. It's just Bina rolls bad.
Yeah.
Good thing. See, the thing is, the great thing about Cypher is even if the character rolls bad, her abilities make up for it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, God.
With that, you're free to make your way back to Awakener, which is currently the most comfortable place to be on this planet. Awakener currently having been landed on one of the exterior platforms.
I think on the way back, Peach is definitely gonna like kind of stop. Like she's probably a few minutes behind everybody else, like checking in, like being like, okay, like any losses here? Like how's everybody doing? Like kind of just making sure that everyone's like kind of okay and not too like frazzled by this.
Yeah.
I mean, it went pretty well, but still.
This is familiar territory for Peach. It's different context, but it's logistics is essentially what's happening here. As you're sort of like stopping and making sure you've gotten to know a few people through like your kind of making your rounds over the last like 36 hours or so.
Yeah, she would try to know everyone's names. Probably like 70% of names are there.
Yeah. Just sort of stopping by, making sure everybody has what they need. And while it's not, Peach doesn't really have the power to give them what they need if they don't have what they need. Something that Peach would have picked up in her time as a politician is that sometimes all it takes is to just ask. It just comes with the asking, and it works as you're walking by. And even though there's people like quite a few of them will just sort of complain that they wish that they'd had one thing or another, but none of them seem to expect you to provide it. But they all seem very appreciative of the asking.
You guys were great in the fight.
As you're making your way towards Awakener, Mason, you hear some footsteps approaching, and you turn, and you see Trace approaching. As she smiles and says, "Well, I didn't think we were gonna manage that. That was, I mean, the prison break is one thing, but whew."
Yeah, I know. It was good. We did it.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't really get a chance to, in all of everything that. Thanks for saving my life. I mean, maybe I would have survived a tumble out into open space, but I'm glad I didn't have to find out.
Yeah, never done that one myself, but I don't think it's fun.
No, I don't imagine it. It is.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, well,
Instincts kick in. That's part of everything. Part of what I used to do. So, glad I still at it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're around to still do it. Anyway, I should go. I should.
Yeah.
I have. Thanks again. Yeah.
Don't mention it.
See you later. And she just sort of makes her way back in towards the into the mining facility.
Mason just he's got one thing on his mind. He could really use a cup of coffee. Use a cup of coffee.
All right. So we'll cut to a few hours later as you've all managed to get yourselves settled.
Oh,
yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Once we get back to Awakener, while everyone's just kind of like sitting around, we're sitting around with our coffee. I don't know if we're decompressing or if everyone's just like internally decompressing. I don't know. But Bina wants to, will at some point be like, guess you guys were right. Maybe we can do this.
We did.
Yeah, we kind of just did, didn't we? But I think it's good to be cautious and not get too overexcited yet, right? Right? I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yes, but that was a big thing that we did.
We don't even know what we're still capable of doing, guys. Bina, what did you do up there?
I've never really done it before like that. But you know how you guys sometimes feel me? And you know how I feel you, whatever. I had Alma take the helm and I wanted them all to be afraid. Because your head's not clear when you're afraid. And I can't make them think things, and I could make them do things from this far away, I don't think. But I could make them afraid. And I think it helped.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, that definitely helped. You and Olam.
Oh yeah, well, it's one thing to jury rig technology to knock a couple ships out of the sky. It's another thing to change the feelings in somebody's brain or heart. That's power, you know?
We're all working on it.
Yeah. Whew.
As you say, as Olam says, that's power. Peach is gonna try and like conjure some very solid looking pastries and like really try really hard to make them stop like fully solid and try and pick one up, but of course it's like not like she can't bite into it.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point Olam's like adrenaline feelings of triumph are already turning into like weird like jitters
Jittery, yeah.
and he's already eating like whatever just like cramming down like chicharrones or something like that, like space equivalent of some like really shitty spicy snack, just like as we're talking.
Yeah. So
What do you think those people are gonna say about us?
Which people?
All those people on the planet that saw things with no explanation at all.
at this exact
they'd
moment,
say-
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'll say, I think they'd say thank you.
At this exact moment, Jade is entering from like one of the corridors that leads kind of off towards the engine room, and he says, "Oh, they're already talking about it. Everybody's talking about it." He says, "Oh yeah, I've been. Sorry, was I not supposed to leave the ship? I didn't.
No, you're good.
Okay,
You're not a prisoner.
okay.
Well,
Well,
good. Yeah.
no, I mean they're already talking about it. There's lots of rumors going around, and nobody knows anything. Although I think right now the consensus is mostly that everybody's thinking that there's some sort of advanced technology that you all have that can do weird stuff. But yeah,
I'm into that. That's cool. We can ride that. That'd be fun.
Well, we've already made it clear that our identity is not going to be a good thing, especially if they're, like it sounds like, going to try to treat with Silverbreak here. I just hope that whatever the stories they tell don't match us well enough that Silverbreak catches wind that we were here.
I don't know. I think it might get lost a little bit in translation.
I hope
I hope-
so.
I hope most of it is lost for everybody's sake here.
We let Win know that it's not great.
If not, I mean, I could probably help it get a little lost.
I mean, we've already let Win know that we're not a great thing to have on their side from Silverbreak's perspective. Maybe
Right.
we could convince them to have words with their troops. We were never here, kind of a thing.
That'd be good. We've made it clear to them, but if they can pass it along.
I don't know. I think that instead of like a we were never here, more of like a kind of a mysticism or like a mystery around us can actually really kind of help in the future.
Right.
Just not identifying. Just not us.
Yeah, just no
As
name.
long-
we
Exactly.
were never here. Something
Right.
might have been, but not us.
Exactly.
That's always been my ending line. I was never here.
You get a
It
smoke
works.
bomb and then run real fast.
Sort of a smoke bomb. I mean, cigarettes.
He disappeared, leaving nothing but the scent of cigarettes and a cloud of smoke that lingered for minutes.
Rolling one-liner.
At this point, you suddenly hear a clattering and then yelling voices from somewhere further in the ship, kind of up and towards the
In Awakener?
mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting.
It's very clearly Abriel's voice that you're hearing.
Oh, okay.
Did Patch drop something? Like
Jade kind of glances up, goes, "I'm gonna go to the engine room," and he just like leaves.
it sound like it's coming from like the observation room? Is that what upstairs is usually, or
No, I sort of assumed you guys were in the hold at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
So like upstairs, probably the direction of like the med bay.
Cool.
I'm gonna comms. I almost did the Star Trek badge tap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna comms Avriel and be like, "Hey, everything good up there?"
Tell this damn robot to get the hell out of my med bay.
Oh,
No.
I'm gonna comms.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, she goes, no. You hear that she's like no longer addressing you. She's like,
Yeah.
No. I first supplies go missing, and now you're rooting around in my stuff. Get out. And
Okay, I comms Patch.
Mhm.
Be like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?"
hey, just here, a minor misunderstanding.
Oh, okay. Is it good? You got it resolved?
I believe I have angered the Anzalonian doctor.
Oh, what happened?
Unclear.
Oh, okay. Do you need help? Do you need
You
backup?
just hear
We good?
you hear Abriel in the background of this comms just going,
Yeah.
"What do you mean unclear? Unclear? I've told you to stay away from my stuff." She's like, "I will resume communication momentarily," and then the comms cuts out. You can still distantly hear Abriel's voice, like just yelling.
I'm assuming all that was on speaker. Like,
Yeah.
So they're getting along.
What was that about things missing?
It sounds like medical supplies are not where they're supposed to be. Perhaps. I mean, Patch wouldn't need all we only have organic medical supplies, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
I mean, we don't really know Patch, like, their end goal. So I mean, they could be hoarding supplies from us, but we have no way of knowing why, unless we ask them.
I mean, they said it was a misunderstanding, so it could have been a misunderstanding. Just have to ask them. Yeah.
All right.
I can't get a read on them. They don't experience emotions in a language that I understand. It's very cool.
Do they need a mediator up there right now? Is there still sound coming from?
No, they closed the.
Oh,
comlink.
you can hear the
because
sound.
physically-
We can hear them. Yeah.
You can hear like the sound of Abriel like still just having having a time. Although the words aren't specifically clear from here.
Yeah. Olam is standing there, has the posture and look of the feeling that like somebody should go up there, but I really don't want to. As he's
He looks like he could go
as
up,
he still
he could
eats.
go up there.
What? What'd you say, Olivia?
Oh, I said Peach will go up
Okay.
there. They're still arguing. They're still like yelling, basically, like.
I'll follow.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we'll go. We'll find out.
No, I stay here. If everybody else is going, I
Okay.
don't want to be.
I love how it's like
Conversation I won't be a part of.
I love this so much. It's just like Olam is sitting there like, oh, maybe somebody should go up there, but I don't want to. And then like
Everyone goes.
Everyone goes, and then Olam just like leans back and just keeps eating. Like
Exactly. This is what I wanted. I'm the mastermind. Boom.
All right. So you
Comedy.
you make your way up to the med bay. And as the door opens, Abriel is saying, "The last time, stay out of my stuff." At which point Patch just says, apologies. I keep explaining. I only wish to help. I am looking to understand. I know you're looking to understand organics and whatever. Just don't do it somewhere else."
Hey, what's going on in here, guys?
Abriel looks over. The two of them look at each other. They look back and go simultaneously, "It's nothing." And then Abriel just sort of turns and like faces the other direction, starts like arranging stuff. You can see where there is very clearly like a case of like medical implements that has just been like overturned. And Abriel is currently like putting stuff back into the tray and like picking it up and setting it up. At which point Patch turns and looks to all of you. and the central iris sort of focusing and refocusing as they look and they say, I merely wish to study some of the medical implements used by organics. Part of understanding organic culture is learning about their physiology.
Oh, we
And-
can get you connected to like up in the interlink or whatever. What's the internet called in space?
Yeah, yeah.
Interlink? Did I get it? Hell yeah, I
Interlink
got it.
Galactic database. It's got a few. Yeah,
We can get you up in the database. We can set you up with a terminal.
that would be beneficial.
Okay.
Abriel just sort of mutters something about, yeah, beneficial, as in you being somewhere other than here.
And maybe later, you could, Abriel, maybe help out our friend by giving them maybe one of a few of the things that you're not using.
Sure,
Just
and
for
maybe
them
I could
to-
also perform surgery on myself.
Okay, they'll give them back. They just want to look at them, right? I look at Patch.
Patch just sort of looks at you and just nods. Just
Oh, okay.
Abriel kind of glances over her shoulder.
With permission, perhaps
She
we
says,
can come up with an agreement. But for now, me and Patch can go check out a terminal. We'll do that. And then Vita's gonna kind of like beckon
Yeah.
Patch to follow, and we're gonna go out into
Yeah.
a common area.
Abriel, as soon as they're gone, Abriel stands up, like straightens up, holding like the tray now, like with everything set back on it, and she sets it back on one of the counters. She walks right up to you, Peach, and pokes a finger right into your chest, and she says, "Keep that thing out of my med bay."
I mean, Abriel, maybe try to be a little bit nicer to one of our current crew members. But
Crew members, right? Crew members. The artificial intelligence from nobody knows where, who keep to themselves and are hoarders of technology that we don't understand, and who have agendas that we don't understand or know what they are. Yeah, absolutely. Crew member, understood.
we meet people every day where we don't know their agendas who are working against us, whether they're Anzalonian, Caldra. It doesn't matter. I mean, just because we don't understand Patch doesn't mean that we should be outwardly hostile towards them. Okay, you don't have to be friends. Just if they're in here, they won't touch your shit.
You're damn right
Just
they won't.
as hostile as you are to the rest of us, to them. Okay.
Just keep them away from my stuff.
I mean, that's a simple enough guideline, right? We didn't set firm guidelines. We kind of just said, yeah, you can wander wherever, but if you do not want them to be in here, by all means, we can make that a thing. We can make that happen, right?
Fine.
It is your space.
And while you're at it, you may want to ask them where I'm missing 3 applications of nanogel. You may want to ask them what they did with that.
Hey Jim, do you want to give a cool universe fun fact about what nanogel is?
So nanogel is essentially
cool.
like it is a substance with medical application. It is a gel that utilizes nanotechnology. Like the gel itself prevents or reduces swelling and inflammation, as well as promotes sort of accelerated regeneration of cells, while the nanites within the nanogel itself work to quickly repair abrasions and like essentially work like apply like almost like 3D printing synthetic material to like close wounds temporarily. It's sort of like bandage essentially.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
The equivalent of the technology like level we're at here as like a band-aid.
Pretty much.
Like-
Yeah.
Abriel,
Common and also widely used.
Abriel, is that all that went missing?
I mean, the only thing I can prove. I've been keeping track of some of our other supplies too, and there might be some food missing. But I'm not sure. It's entirely possible somebody And she kind of glances meaningfully in like the like out past you, like in the direction of like where like towards the hold. She says, "It's entirely possible somebody had more than their share, but."
Okay. If anything else goes missing, let us know.
Yeah, will do. I'll keep my eyes open. That's what you should be doing.
When did this gel go missing exactly? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I noticed it yesterday morning. When I was packing up my my supplies for the jump.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Okay. Now, if you don't need anything else, I've got a med bay to clean up, so
Mason's already out the door.
I don't really have time for any hand holding or group hugs or whatever it is we're doing here.
Can I help you clean up?
It's your ship. She turns and just starts like picking up, continuing to pick stuff up and straighten things.
Okay, I'll help for a minute and then I'll leave because
Yeah, the rest of the time
Awkward.
the rest of the time passes in complete silence as she just every once in a while she'll just make like frustrated sounds under her breath, but like
Oh.
mostly just like complete silence. And I think it's close enough to our break time that I think this is a good time to take it. So we're gonna go ahead and take our break a few minutes early. So
Nice. That's first.
I know, right?
Damn.
So
Session so far, folks. Holy shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, this is a lot happened real quick there.
yeah, it did. Whew. All right, so we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Everybody, take care of your corporeal form. Caitlin
Oh,
Bruder,
yeah.
2020. Anyway, all right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
See you.
And we're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back from break. I hope everybody got a chance to shake out their ansiness. I couldn't think of another word, okay?
Antsy energies.
Just shake it out in general, man.
Just
go for
in
it.
general. Just
I kind of just
flop
do it
around. Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
Yeah, I felt good.
I applaud you all for shaking.
Thank you, Olivia. Your support is appreciated. So, jumping back in, when we left off, the crew of Awakener had repelled a sizable invasion attempt to reclaim the mining operation here on this world, now claimed by the resistance movement,
That is.
and retired to their vessel, Awakener, which is where we currently start off. So right now, y'all are in holding pattern, pretty much. Your Win is attempting to contact Silverbreak to let them know that all business inquiries can now come through the Resistance, now be funneled through the Resistance. And you're currently waiting to hear a response from them. In the meantime, you are all pretty much left to your own devices at this point, being guests of the Resistance. So, yes, Caitlin.
I would like to have that scene with Patch after I left the medbay with them.
Sure. All right. So, the two of you are making your way along the corridor to the turbolift bank, heading up to the observation deck. You kind of move in relative silence, like to the lift, and then step inside, and Bina hits the button for the observation deck, and you're just sort of standing there, just sort of.
They're very tall, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Patch stands probably about. I don't remember the exact thing I said, but I think around like between 6.5 and 7 feet tall, somewhere in
very,
there.
very tall. Cool.
Yeah. At one point, their head sort of turns and swivels and looks directly at you, and just doesn't move, just observing you. The doors open onto the observation deck as the two of you step out. Um, and Patch immediately makes their way over towards the windows, kind of looking out over the planet itself. Um, they look and then they turn back towards you, um, and they say, "And organics live here. It seems inhospitable."
It is. Some things have been modified so that the people could work here. I guess there's some resources like in the planet that some very powerful people wanted. So they made a bunch of people come down here and they forced part of the planet to be hospitable.
Hmm.
I don't work with that kind of tech, but that's what I understand. Kind of mean, right?
So some organics wanted natural resources and forced other organics to work to extract them.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're here, so we can stop them from forcing people to do things they don't want to do.
Why?
Because they should have a choice.
Shouldn't you also have a choice?
Yeah, I do. In what regard?
It seems that you have entered into this situation that was not your intention.
Mm.
And yet here you are. You were given the
True.
choice to walk away. To
Yes,
do nothing.
but we chose to stay.
Why?
Because we thought we could help.
They are silent for a while, as you sort of pull up like the center console and
Yeah.
start bringing up the interlink. They say,
Get them like a login and like
yeah. They eventually walk over to where you are working. They say, "I don't understand."
Which part?
Outside is evidence of organics behaving the way that I would expect. Fighting for resources, for material gain, forcing others to work for it for them. That in itself is inexplicable to me, and yet here are you and your companions. You had no personal stake in any of this, and yet here you are. I don't understand.
Some not so good things happened to me and my friends. I guess in a place where we weren't really totally given a choice about what happened to us. And so I think, at least for me, I was given the opportunity to choose to help other people be able to make their own choice in the future. Does that make sense?
So it is personal. You seek.
I don't necessarily have gain in it, but I can empathize. In a different way, something different has happened to them. But I can empathize and I want to help.
So it is a function of ego?
No. I don't think so. The point is that no one knows who we are. We don't want anyone to know who we are. Because then bad things would happen to them. It is to help other people have a better future.
This is unexpected. It does not go along with my understanding of organics and organic culture.
Well, first lesson. There is no one culture amongst organics. There's a lot of different ones. And I'm sure there's a lot of different ones from where you come from, too.
If this is an attempt to gain understanding of the Voxora and our ways, I assure you it will not succeed.
Oh, I mean, you can be cagey. I don't mind. I'm just trying to give you a jumping off point to understand. Maybe?
I see.
Comparison.
I will make a note of the things that you have told me.
Oh boy. Make a note. Not everybody's the same. I can't speak for all of organics, but I can speak for me, Vinoba. And you can speak for you. What can I help you find?
And the two of you sort of like lean in and start kind of working together to research various inquiries that Patch has, primarily on like biology and physiology of various species. But yeah, pretty much that's how you pass a lot of that time, just sort of. I will say that during the course of this, every once in a while, as you're helping Patch, you will catch them sort of like watching you, just sort of observing you.
I think I probably catch their eye of the first few times, but then I think Bina will, at least from her perspective, seems like they're trying to observe her, so she'll just let them and not make eye contact.
Fair enough. Okay, so we'll cut down to let's say Mason. What are you currently doing? What are you currently up to?
All right, I'm going to be walking around the ship, and I'm going to just kind of poke around.
Sure. Looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, just going to be looking for maybe some gels that may have disappeared from one place and found themselves in another.
Sure. All right. So you kind of are wandering on the ship, sort of looking for anything that might be just sort of out of place, anything that rings to you as suspicious. And
I don't want to be putting my paws in people's like personal effects.
Sure.
Kind of like just kind of glossing over the room and stuff kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, you're sort of wandering the ship, sort of going from room to room, getting a bit of just a sort of a cursory glance, kind of casing everything. And as you're making your way kind of in the direction of the engine room, you nearly run headlong into Jade, who is kind of exiting the engine room, removing like his workman's gloves as he like looking at his. Oh, hi. Were you looking for me?
Hey kid. No, just kind of looking around.
Oh, okay.
Thought I'd stretch my legs.
Yeah. I mean, I've just sort of been looking around, trying to understand the engines better.
Yeah, you could probably use a walkabout.
Yeah.
Stretch your legs too. This can't stay in here all day, can you?
Well, I mean, I technically wasn't in there. I mean, I was, but I actually have been sort of trying to. He kind of glances nervously around. He says, "I've actually been trying to find wherever Alma's AI core is, because chances are, I mean, she's very advanced, but if something happens, right? If like the ship gets hit or something, we might need to repair her, and I don't know how to do that right now. So I kind of been looking to try to find anything. She's not really helpful because she doesn't really know where she is. So I mean, I guess she's kind of everywhere, but
yeah. When one doesn't know where they are, it doesn't make very easy, does it? Huh?
No, it really doesn't. And it's pretty important. I mean, right now, I mean, we have Bina, who's really good at not letting us get hit by stuff. But one day, I mean, we get shot at enough. Anyway, I've been kind of crawling around in some of the crawl spaces in the ship, trying to see if I could find anywhere. It's really confusing in there. I actually almost got lost yesterday, but.
Well, I'll leave that up to you. I'm not much for small spaces.
So, what are you doing if you're not looking for anybody? Just.
Need to stretch my legs. I need to think.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're the only one in here, right? You don't. No one else in here except for excluding the AI, of course.
Yep. It's just me.
All right. You carry on.
Okay.
Makes sense.
He just sort of
Cryptic encounters with a teenager in the bowels of a ship.
he just sort of like continues standing kind of in the corridor as you move slowly along, just sort of looking after you, until finally you sort of like lose sight of him, from just sort of the natural curvature of the corridor. Um, Olam, what are you up to?
I think I go to my like cot or whatever I sleep on. I'm just lying in my clothes on top of the covers, reading like a web comic on my wrist communicator thing. And then I notice like a light fixture on the ceiling is slightly flickering, and I like start to get up, and then I just lie back flat down and float up towards the ceiling, and like and start like and like punch it, try to get it fixed. And if that doesn't work, I like stay hovering with my back parallel to the ground and like float to go look for like a bulb or something for it. I'm just kind of and I have like little Cheeto crumbles on my chest, and I'm like kind of brushing them off. So I'm just Olam is just resting, I guess is another way to say that.
Fair. Yeah.
And testing his powers a little bit.
Okay. What about Peach? What are you up to?
So we can go back off the ship at this point too, right? Like
Yeah.
I could still go and talk to Win.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would want to go ahead and talk to Win, just because Peach has some ideas for some plans that might help him out.
Mhm.
And I can kind of explain what she wants to help with, or we can do a scene, whatever works.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. So, you find Win, as you expect, in the command chamber of the command center of the prison or mining facility. Currently, they are, as opposed to when you were last here, they're one of the last people in the room. When you were last here, there were probably about a dozen or so people working in the command center, but right now it's Win and maybe 3 other people who are still working. As you step into the room, you can see that they have like bags under their eyes. They're like working, and they're just sort of like currently sitting in one of the seats at the command center, just sort of leaning on one hand, looking over some of the data. They glance up as you step in, and they say, "The data analysis isn't going to do itself."
Not intruding, I hope.
No. Pull up a seat.
Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a seat. We don't have anything to bring, do we? Like, if we had a bottle of wine or something, I would have brought one, like, as a victory thing.
You totally could. Like, you were relatively well stocked.
Okay, because I would definitely like bring a bottle of wine, because one, they probably haven't had wine in a long time, so they'd probably be excited to see it. And 2, like, just as like kind of a victory thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of pull one out of a bag and like pop. I'm gonna assume it's like a pop, like a champagne kind of situation. And just kind of turn to them and offer it, but then also just specifically looking at Win. So what's your next step, if you don't mind sharing?
They take the bottle from you and just kind of looking at it and say, "Well, right now the ball's kind of in Silverbreak's court. I let them know that if they want to do business here, that they're going to have to go through us, and that we're willing to make a deal. Right now, I'm hinging all of our plans on the cynical nature of corporations. That they won't honor the deal with the man, but they'll honor the deal for the product."
No, it's a good idea. Have you thought about possibly broadcasting in a very clear way to the different colonies, the different planets that are under kind of the Baron's control in the system, the victory here today.
Thought about it, but there's not really a good way to do it. I mean, we have the mining outpost, but the Baron and his people still control communication in and out of the system. I mean, it would take computing expertise that I just don't have, nor do any of my people. But it's not a bad idea. Under ideal circumstances,
I'll check in on that one. But would you have any people here that would be effective to recruit more rebels? Because at this point, you're kind of banking on a bluff. I mean, you can hold this for a while, but if Silverbreak doesn't bite, I mean, you're kind of just stuck here until resources run out. I mean, I think the best thing to do would be to recruit as many people to your cause as possible, and the only way to do that is to get the story out of what happened here today to every crevice of this area.
Wynn takes a moment and just sort of looks at you and then sort of glances over, and you can see, looking over their shoulder, you can see that the other 3 people in the room have like not been working for a while, and they're just kind of like very badly disguising the fact that they're listening in. And Wynn just says, "Why don't you go ahead and take the rest of the night off?"
Yeah.
And they like look at each other and then just stand up, and the 3 of them just collect their stuff and leave. Wynn waits for them to leave and then turns back to you and they say, "Sorry, it's just so much of everything that we do is based on keeping morale up, and easier to do that if they don't know the nitty-gritty."
No, I totally understand.
I think it's important that people know what happened, that victory is possible. I mean, so much of the Baron's power is based on the illusion of it being absolute. And we just proved here today that that's not the case. Problem is, even if people see it, I don't know if they'll believe it. But you're not wrong. We don't really have an end game here or a plan B. This is all pretty much hinging on a single gambit, and like you said, it's a bluff, is what it is. At any point, Silverbreak can decide that, well, we're not a legitimate power, and that frees, but this place isn't in control by the Baron anymore, so there's nothing really stopping them from swooping in and taking it themselves. The question is, how much are they willing to risk for this hunk of rock?
Okay. So then I think the next order of business that you need to look into is contacts on the outside. And I'm basically Peach is going to kind of go into, like, basically what I'm thinking is that I don't know if you I'm basically stealing this from like how I remember the Mistborn trilogy to go, if any of you guys remember that, but like they break into smaller teams and like basically recruit throughout the different colonies or like the different kind of enslaved areas. And like I was thinking that if Wynn could specifically like get word out and like get enough contacts like to kind of spread some of that, and then like they could slowly get more and more allies by just like having different kind of like goods, basically just some good speakers is what I'm thinking. But
yeah, I mean you sort of lay all this out, and Wynn nods and says, "It's not a bad idea. I gotta tell you, I've been running this resistance pretty much since day one, and I don't really have the luxury of not knowing what I'm doing, except that I don't. And here you and your people come in and in a day change everything. It's inspiring, but it's also incredibly irritating.
Hey, it was your plan. We were just reinforcements. It was all your planning.
Yeah, but it's a plan that would have failed without you, and you were luck.
Well, that's why going forward, we make a little bit stronger plans.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, Peach is gonna kind of offer. Like, I'm sure the bottle is almost empty.
Yeah.
At this
By this point, it definitely is.
And kind of just offer it to Win. Say, you want to finish this one?
More than anything. I just sort of.
And basically, I was just thinking that we'd kind of spend some time, like,
Sure.
Peach would kind of help Win iron out some different solid plans, because like she recognized the plan that we did originally was very shoddy. And if Win is going to be the person who's in charge, she's like, here's some ideas. You might want to recruit some help, maybe get some press to talk about this, spin it in the right way, like literally just kind of addressing from all angles, like.
Yeah.
Bean is not there, but Caitlin has so many ideas.
Yeah, you kind of go through planning, and by the end of it, Win nods and they say, actually, yeah, I think this could work. It's sort of like a larger scale of what we did here, really. I mean, the Baron has his mercenary force, and it's what he's been able to strong arm everybody with, but compared to the population of this place, I mean, we get enough people up.
Baron's holding them there from fear, and if you can just break through that for a second, I mean, I think you'll be surprised by what people will do.
Yeah, you might be right. I'll look into it. I actually have a few people in mind who might be good for something like this. I'll go talk to some people.
If I wasn't a wanted criminal, I'd offer my help, but...
Yeah, that does tend to throw up a few barriers now and then.
What can you do?
Speaking of which, I mean, you don't have to tell me anything, but that whole thing with the colony, I mean, you didn't do that. Did you?
No. We were there.
Victims of circumstance. That's something I understand.
Glad you asked, though.
Wasn't relevant before. Honestly, it still isn't, but call it curiosity.
Let's just say we have, I think, a lot in common about working with the circumstances we've been given.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, I should go over more of these before they tap the bottle, the empty bottle, and they say, before this kicks in any more than it already has. Whew. Yeah, I'll look into putting some of this stuff in place, and we'll see what we can do. If you have any other ideas, feel free to share them, because they kind of glance around and they say, as far as I'm concerned, this was it. This was my big idea. This is what we had.
Well, one more. Try to get some rest.
Not likely.
And as she leaves, she's just gonna try and like, I don't want to like knock one out, but I just want to kind of like make them a little like
Latent melatonin.
yeah, like kind of like draw upon like very positive like dreams and things that they may have like kind of been thinking, and just kind of give them a little bit of a kind of a warm, kind of like what I did.
A boost. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like what I did with Jade, but like I don't just want Win to fall asleep.
Right.
In the middle of the room.
Yeah. you see kind of as you're leaving, kind of you turn back for a moment. And you see as Win, who kind of was leaning hunched over the screens, face illuminated by sort of the that greenish glow from the hollow screens in front of them. You see as they suddenly kind of straighten up and just sort of relax back into the seat, and start and continue going over the data. And just as you're leaving, you sort of catch just the barest hint of like a slight smile, kind of curling around the corner of their mouth as you turn and exit.
Okay.
Back on Awakener, Bina, you just sort of making a quick stop over in the engine room. As you're making your way in that direction, you kind of step inside the engine room, and you see, you can see part of Jade sticking out from like a panel that you previously had not opened, but like one of the kind of the bulkhead panels that has been removed, and you can see sort of like the lower half of Jade sticking out of it as he's like slowly kind of like pulling backwards out of it.
She's gonna do that thing she does where she crouches down and like looks in with him
Mm-hmm.
until he notices that she's
Yeah,
there.
and he's like crawling back out of it, and like straightens up onto his knees, looks at you, goes, "Oh my, hi,
Hey, what's up?
I was just the I was
Take your time.
okay.
It's good.
Yeah, I was the Alma. I was looking for Alma. I was looking for where Alma is in the ship. Like the AI core.
Have you asked her?
Yeah, she has
Oh.
no idea.
Okay.
Um,
That might be good to know.
yeah, I've sort of been crawling around in the ship's guts a little bit, trying to find where there might be an AI core. And I first was trying to follow the lines that we found from the extra power conduits earlier, but then I sort of lost track of those, and because they went one way and the crawl spaces went somewhere else. I'm working on mapping them. I'm getting pretty close, but
Dang, nice. Did he point to like actual notes that he had?
yeah, like he kind of he like gestured to his terminal and like says, and he kind of like takes it, pulls it up, and swipes it over to you.
Oh man, you're pretty far, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there's some parts I can't really get to, mostly because I can. It's just that when the ship's running, it's pretty hot in there, and so it's hard to get through. So we'll have to wait. It'll have to wait. Those sections will have to wait until we are powered down fully. But
can I pull up like, because we have hollow emitters kind of everywhere? Can I pull up like ship schematics?
yeah, you can do that.
And I kind of want to like see if I can overlay some of Jade's notes over them. Are there any places here where there's like a dead zone or like an area that seems unaccounted for or like that isn't labeled in a particular way?
The thing that's interesting is like one of the things that was particularly frustrating to both Jade and Bina pretty early on is the fact that there is precious little documentation on the ship. Like you have schematics, but mostly they cover like common areas of the ship. What Jade is doing right now is essentially filling in the gaps. So yes, the answer to your question is there are lots of dead
gaps,
zones.
but they're sizable.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are lots of different places. Jade says, he kind of like looking over it with you says, okay, so I've covered right now the most obvious places to put something like that. Depending on how advanced it is, that core could be anywhere from like the size of my head to the size of, well, the engine here. So I'm going to rule that one out because there's not really anywhere big enough for that to be, but
still leaves lots of sizes in between.
Yeah.
Is Alma looking too?
She's trying, but there's lots of places she actually can't get to. At least not in the same way that she can other places of the ship.
That might be a place to start.
Yeah, the problem is
find the places she can't get, and
the problem is it's a lot of the maintenance access ways, which is pretty much what I'm doing. That's actually what gave me the idea. She knew that they were there because, well, she can't see them, and they were kind of a blind spot for her. So that's how I knew to find them, because she helped me get there. But yeah.
Good project.
I am gonna have you do something real fast,
Okay.
Caitlin. I'm gonna have you. This is just a quick. This is gonna be an intellect roll. It's not gonna be very hard. This is difficulty 2.
Okay. Do you want me to read my skills
Yeah.
and you tell me if they apply?
Yeah.
Okay. Secret rules. Practice with light weapons, task sensing emotions, dispositions,
Mm-hmm. That's
vehicle
gonna help.
driving,
Emotions, disposition. That's gonna help.
vehicle driving, piloting, social interactions, pleasant or otherwise, intellect defense, perception tests involving sight, mechanic.
No, just the first one.
Okay.
So it'll be a difficulty 1 now.
Yes.
Okay.
3 or better.
Okay.
3. You know how many 3s I've rolled tonight?
Luckily, this one
Not
is
your
actually
roll, Mike.
helpful.
That was it. That
This
was
is,
the
this
one.
is the one you needed. Throughout the course of your conversation with Jade, you're picking up something you've never picked up before from him, and that is that he is hiding something from you. He was very nervous when you first found him. Became
Which could have been confused with me scaring the absolute
Right.
shit out of him.
that's why you're picking it up. You're only picking it up now because
Later, yeah.
because it's still kind of there. You're sensing like apprehension and anxiety, but also like the beginnings of relief that maybe he's pulled off his deception.
Okay.
Um,
Come on, kid, you're smarter than that. You're talking to an empath.
He's so he says, so yeah, I mean, I still have a little bit of ground to cover, but I think I can. I mean, it's only a matter of time, and there's a limited amount of space in which I could.
Are you okay?
What? Okay.
Just, are you okay?
Mm-hmm. What? Why? Why do you ask?
I don't know. There's a lot going on. And you feel less than okay.
Did Olam talk to you?
No, I'm an empath, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
Vina does not laugh, but Caleb does.
Yeah. Sorry, I forget that sometimes. Okay.
What happened with Olam?
Oh, no. I was having a hard night the other night, and I talked to Olam, and he helped me a little bit. I don't know. I don't know.
Are you still okay being on Awakener?
Yeah. I like being here. I mean, I like being around all of you. This is. Yeah.
Am I sure about that?
So here's the thing. It gets
Just
a little
tone of voice. GM tone of voice makes Caitlin apprehensive.
No. It's complicated. It's difficult to tell you with any sort of precision right now, but you can tell that he's still like trying to cover something. You're just not sure exactly what it is at this point.
I don't know if I've hit it or not.
Right. Exactly. He says, "Yeah, no, I still like being here. I'm just starting to get comfortable. I guess I don't know. This is a weird circumstance to say like that we're comfortable with, but you know."
Yeah, nothing about the past several weeks has been normal by any stretch.
Mm-mm.
So that's why I wanted to make sure you're okay. Is there anything I can do to help?
You can sense a very like sudden wavering, like uncertainty.
Pointedly, he did not say something was not okay, but Vina's purposefully asking.
And then you feel from him just sort of sort of a complex mixture of emotions that just sort of difficult to untangle.
kid.
And then he just says,
This kid.
and he looks and he says, I mean, he currently kind of has been on his knees this whole time, and he finally
Yeah, we're both crouching down by this whole.
he sits himself down and pushes himself back up against the wall and just sort of looks at you.
Cross leg.
Yeah, and he just says, I don't know. I just think about, I don't know, I think about my mom sometimes. 'Cause she was on the colony with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I know what happened, and I miss her a lot, but I also I don't feel like I think I should feel. I don't know. I feel like I should be feeling more, and I'm not. And then that makes me feel like there's maybe something wrong with me. And
coming from an expert on the subject, feelings are weird, man. They don't always make sense. And there's no supposed to. You don't get to choose. It's a reaction. And however you're reacting or coping or not coping, it's also an option. It's just what's happening. And it's something that if you want it, hopefully people around you would like to help you.
I know. I don't know. I keep feeling like maybe I just haven't really had a lot of time to really figure out how I feel. And it makes it really hard because I really, really like being here, but I don't.
It doesn't give you time to feel.
Yeah. I talked to Olam, and I said it just seems like I don't really know what I'm doing, and he said that he doesn't really know what he's doing, but you all just seem like you do. And
never a day in my life, I promise you.
He looks at you like he definitely doesn't believe you. He just says, I don't know. I don't. Sometimes you feel like you kind of like emotionally, you kind of sort of feel like a dam burst as he just sort of like he just sort of like in like a rush of words just starts like spewing out words as he just goes. Sometimes I just don't really feel like I belong here. You know, like I don't know how I can contribute. You know, like I want to help and I like being here, but I just like I don't have powers like any of you, but I also am not that good at anything. I mean, I understand ships a little bit and I understand all of this stuff, but I can't really help in the way that you can. And
as he's rambling, Vina's going to take all four hands, shoulders, elbows, both sides, and just going to like hold him and be like, "It's okay. It's okay. all of that is okay. We're all new to this. We're all new to Awakener and to being a crew, and you're new at the same level as all of us. We all know how to do things. You know how to do things. Look at this cool-ass map that you just made. It's cool as hell. I didn't do that. You did that. You've been taking care of the engine while I've been piloting. You know engines.
Well, Alma's been telling me mostly how to do stuff.
And that's called learning. You're doing learning. That's cool too. We're all learning. We all know how to do things. All of us have things we're good at and specific things that we can do. But none of us really know what we're doing. and we're all learning together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to hear, because it can be scary not knowing. But just know that we're all in the same boat. And if you want to stay, you can stay for as long as you want.
I
But
do.
if it ever becomes too much, you have to tell me, okay? Not that I expect it to, because you're pretty cool. But
Is that... I wonder if that's what Olin was trying to tell me.
probably. Olin seems smart. I bet he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't have all the words. I have too many words. So we get there eventually, usually.
He you can see as he like never actually like fully like tearing up or anything like that, but you can see as he just sort of like sniffs a little bit and just and he kind of like pushes himself back up onto his knees and kind of like puts his hands kind of on his thighs as he looks towards the exposed panel and then looks back at you. He says, and then he just sort of like reaches forward and he just puts his
immediately all four arms.
He puts his arms just kind of like around your neck and just pulls you in, and then
she's littler than him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she gives great hugs. She's got 4 whole arms to do it.
yeah he
Cheering up. You guys.
he
She rocks him. She does the little like rock back and forth a little bit.
yeah, and you sit like that for a while before finally like he lets go and just I'm gonna put that back, and then I can show you some of the things that I learned about the engine.
Have you had dinner yet?
No.
We're gonna have dinner first.
Okay.
Okay.
And he like stands up and grabs the panel and starts putting it back in place. We'll go ahead and cut to because by this point it's pretty late. It's pretty late. Like the sun has set and it's fully dark out, and by all rights you probably all should have been like asleep by now. But you and Bina and Jade, you find your way into the galley, where currently Abriel is just sort of sitting. She has like a couple of like
Oh no, she didn't like me very much.
she has a couple of like data pads basically just sort of like right in front of her as she's looking through them, reading, and she's like sort of currently swirling a glass as she looks up. She goes, "Not sleeping either?"
No, we're on ship canvassing. But first dinner. Have you eaten dinner?
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
gonna make
remember.
you dinner too. You're gonna have dinner too.
Well, I'm not gonna argue.
Good choice.
She sets the cup down, and Jade sits sort of like awkwardly like across from her. As she looks up, she goes, "All right, kid." He goes, "Yeah."
Loaded question, Gabriel.
She just sort of like looks at him, and she says, "You're a bad liar, kid." She just keeps sipping and goes. He just kind of nods, like, "Yeah."
Peter makes eye contact with him and was like, and then goes to go get food, go make foodstuffs. I have no idea if Bean is a good cook.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
I bet she's a creative. I bet she like makes shit that people are like, what the hell are you serving me? These things do not go together. But she's like, trust me, and it tastes great. She's an unorthodox cook, I think. She had lived alone in weird places for a long time.
Yeah.
She'd have to be able to feed herself. So I think she's a weird cook.
As you're doing this, Patch event like sort of makes their way into the galley and just sort of looks around and says, "Apologies, I heard voices."
You're welcome to join us.
They step in as Abriel is just sort of watching them. They step in and look down at one of the seats and looks up at Abriel and says, "May I sit here?" Abriel says, "Do whatever you want." Patch just settles themselves in.
So ready for this enemies to lovers AU.
What do I feel from Abriel? Like, is it high emotions like before, or is
No.
it more just like
It's-
low level? Fuck whatever.
It's low level, sort of. You can feel the distrust there, from Abriel. There's sort of like, as soon as Patch walked into the room, there was sort of this like on high alert kind
Prickling.
of like, yeah. She appears to be reading, but there's a distinct difference in her posture from when you walked in, that suggests that she might not actually be currently reading. But yeah, Jade is
He's also a bad liar.
sort of entirely unoblivious to, or sort of completely oblivious to like all of this, and is just sort of like,
Attention, yeah.
yeah, is like mostly watching you work.
Oh, to be Jade.
Yeah. And yeah, yeah, you said about making your creative meal.
Weird dinner.
Any of the rest of you?
I'm probably like slowly making my way back, like just kind of like probably not going the quickest way.
Yeah.
So you're still not on board the ship.
I'm probably like coming, like I'm almost there, but I'll probably be like a few minutes. You
All
know?
right, may I orchestrate a scene a little bit then?
Yeah, go for
Is
it.
that all right with
Go
you?
for it.
So, is it possible that Mason is outside smoking cigarettes?
Actually, yeah.
Okay, so I picture,
Plural.
yeah.
3 of them.
So
Smoke them like.
so we're standing out there,
Monica.
Mason, if you will oblige, and like maybe the sun is just, there's like that weird light on the horizon, which probably looks different here than it does on Earth. Like after the sun is set, like some half an hour after set, but there's still like a weird hint of light there,
Mhm.
whatever. I don't know. And Olam's still there with that kind of like nervous energy, just like standing near Mason while he smokes, in like a friendly but probably mildly annoying fashion. And I just kind of look up and like, Mason, what do we do now? I don't mean like on a big scale or anything like that. This time like this, after all that we've just done, I don't know what to do with time like this. I mean, we've been here before, but it feels more intense now. I want to keep eating, or I want to drink, or I want to smoke something like that, or I want to get in a fight, but I don't do those things, right? I don't know. I don't know how to turn off or something, you know?
Turn off? Like, well, like what? Shut your
I don't
mind
know.
off, or
That all of that, yeah, I guess.
yeah, this is not something you're accustomed to.
No, well, not until no. But it
Yeah.
seems like it's going to be like this for us for a while.
Yeah, I've wondered about that, about how this would affect people, and how it's affected me. I mean, this besides the powers, these abilities that we've been given, waking up and then just suddenly being thrust into this, that's something I'm not used to either. But I'd say one step at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah, it's just I tried to take a nap. I tried to read I tried to do all the things that I did when I had free time, and it feels wrong. You know what I mean? Everything's different.
Maybe try something different then. If everything's different, try something different. Here, you want to smoke?
No thanks.
Suit yourself. Maybe try exercising or something. Have you ever done push-ups?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, how many can you do?
What do you mean at once?
Yeah.
I don't. A
Can,
few.
can we say that, like, at this point, Peach comes, like, up to them while they're doing push-ups? Like, they're doing push-ups, like, a lit cigarette is on the ground, and, like...
Oh, I feel like Mason doesn't put the cigarette out to do push-ups. I feel like it's still,
Nope.
It's like, wait, no, but the cigarette's like touching the ground every...
He's got it like up the side, up by his cheek,
Olam starts to do real push-ups, and then when he gets tired, he is using gravity to hover off the ground. He's cheating.
If I noticed that for 1 second, you're...
Peach,
No
you walk up like right in the middle of it.
She's just literally walking up and going, having fun out here, boys?
I'm like, oh, yeah. I like scrabble up to my feet. I'm like, just decompressing. How is it in there?
You know, it was Win really very, very nice person. Didn't have a lot of further follow-up plans, so just kind of working that out with them. I don't know. How are you guys feeling? How are you guys doing?
Fine.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel weird. I don't know. I'm ready. I'm anxious for whatever comes next, and I don't know what to do while I'm waiting for it.
Keep doing push-ups like that, and don't use the gravity thing.
You know what helps me a lot?
What?
And I'm just gonna kind of look out. Is it a clear night, or is it like?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Are there like? What's the sky looking like?
So yeah, looking up.
There's no atmosphere. There wouldn't be weather, would there be?
I mean, it's not that there's no atmosphere. It's just that the atmosphere
not
isn't
habitable.
Yeah, it's not particularly breathable. It's looking up, the atmosphere does actually have an interesting effect. And so as you're looking up, you're noticing this bizarre phenomenon. Looking up, the sky is tinged just a deep purple color, with sort of like streaks of orange that run through it, as the sun has sort of completely set. Looking up, you can see one of this world's 4 moons beginning to crest up over the horizon, and looking at it, it is large enough that you can, and close enough that you can actually see just the in pretty solid detail, like the enormous craters on its surface, just sort of looking up at it as it just very slowly starts to rise up into the sky. The stars clearly visible.
I like to look. If I'm ever really feeling really overwhelmed, or maybe I've just given a really good speech and I'm feeling really buzzed, I like to kind of stand outside. You know, you look up, you look at something really, really, really far away that's just something you could never touch, and then you take a deep breath and you feel kind of the air where you are, and you think of things. What are you touching? What are you feeling? What are you smelling? Where are your feet? And you look up, look back at your hands. You're here, you're there. You're here, you're there.
we're here and we're there.
We'll be flying lots of other places soon too.
But for now, this is it, I guess. Time to breathe.
Yeah, let me stand down over this way, away from you. Sorry.
I say, so Wynn was receptive to talking about planning?
Yeah, I think they didn't really have a kind of a next steps after what we did today. And I think we all kind of know, and they kind of knew that a lot of the plan that we pulled off was pure luck and kind of our help a little bit. I mean, they had plans, they had stuff in place, but I mean, we kind of greased out the squeaky wheel, and so I just kind of wanted to make sure that after we left, these people wouldn't just be destroyed. I mean, what's the point of helping them today if we can't help them 10 days from now, 100 days from now, 1,000 days from now? Not to overwhelm you. That's just how I am.
No, I was just thinking, all this stuff's not entirely new to you, is it? You think about things like this. You think about helping people. You've thought about this before. This is
Yeah.
you, kind of, like you know, it's like sort of, right?
I mean, this is a lot bigger scale. I mean, I had to work with the laws that I was given and the people and the players and kind of staying in one place and really getting invested in that one place. And this is a very different kind of circumstance. But I mean, yeah, I don't like to sit by and see people taken advantage of. I don't really know how to do that.
Good.
But I think now we have some bigger cards to play. I'm gonna go ahead and conjure a really big ace. Bring out a really big.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that.
So, I can use something else if you like. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out and kind of conjure really just from the dream that I was in with Olam, like you're the couch that was in your apartment. I'm just gonna kind of like pull that out into being like literally just kind of set it a few feet away from where Mason might be doing push-ups or smoking or whatever he's doing over there.
Not both.
Yeah, just a couple feet away. And
Stop doing
I think it can be solid at this point. Like I think you could sit in it. It just probably wouldn't last a super long time.
Yeah.
So if like it's just like your physical apartment couch is just chilling out there now on the planet.
Olam looks at it and his grin kind of like fades really quick, and he like looks back at Peach and kind of like does a small smile and look away and just cool, but I just sort of trying to not think about home. I'm like not looking at the couch like a dog that's not looking at food it's not supposed to eat. I think I'll just do what you said. Look, the stars here. Take a breath.
Yeah.
Do that a little bit more, and then I'll come inside. And then I kind of just step away, a ways away on the platform, and do just that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let kind of Olam have his moment and just kind of nod to Mason and head inside.
Yeah. Inside, you eventually come upon walking past the galley. You can see.
Is it rowdy? Are we rowdy?
Well, There's Bina and Jade are currently making an enormous production of the galley as they're just sort of like back and forth. It is chaotic, but weirdly orchestrated in appearance. As the two of them
Bina
are sort
definitely made more food than for 3 people.
Yeah.
So
like the two of them are just sort of like moving around each other. And Abriel and Patch are just sort of seated at the table. Abriel just sort of like drinking and just shaking her head, watching the kitchen chaos. And
she's dealing with it because she's getting a meal out of
yeah,
it.
she's just sort of watching, just sort of shaking her head. And Patch is just sort of watching the whole thing sort of dispassionately, just sort of watching every once in a while, like tracking Bina and then tracking Jade and then just sort of like watching the whole thing taking place. And the smell is more or less appetizing as you sort of walk past the galley, kind of taking this look in, Peach. And as you're standing there just sort of watching this, Abriel glances up and she says, "Care to join in the chaos? It's closest thing to a show we're going to be getting anytime soon."
Always. And I'm just gonna go and take a seat.
Yeah.
Bina waves from the kitchen with a spoon while like her other 3 arms are doing something. And then goes back to working.
Hope everyone's making nice in here.
Abriel just sort of shoots you a look, just sort of a sidelong look.
Don't bring it up. They've been good.
And then she like glances past you at Patch, and then just says, "Yep, it's fine."
What are we having for dinner?
Abriel just says, "Unclear." We'll cut to a little while later when all of this is finished and y'all are like all of you, if you so choose to be, including Mason and Olam, if you would like.
Hell yes. Whatever you're about to say next. Yes.
So we'll cut to a little while later as you're all seated in the galley. Eventually, one by one, the rest of you filtering in.
Once again, definitely more food than for the 3 people who she indicated originally that she was cooking for.
You're all sort of seated around the table and just Abriel looks at the food and she just sort of pokes at it and just says, "So this is edible?"
Uh-huh. I'll eat it first. She'll eat some of it. And then have like a reaction like, "Oh, that's good." Like a genuine like oh, she wasn't expecting didn't know what to expect from it. Which I'm sure inspires so much confidence.
Yeah,
in people
Abriel
around her.
just sort of takes a small bite.
And she's just gonna eat. She's not gonna she's not watching or anything, but she's gonna eat.
And then she just keeps eating.
It looks weird as hell. It looks like she just grabbed shit from the kitchen and like ran and like which is what she did.
Yeah. Most of Bina's preparation involved like a lot of rehydration, cause mostly like the supplies that you have packed away are like very efficiently dehydrated foodstuffs that
World fun fact, a lot of ships like supplies, food stuff is dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh, can I just be? Can Mason be eating out of a bag, like a space bag, like those Mountain House, like?
You definitely can be. Yeah, we put it back in the bag after we put everything together, just for you to eat like a walking taco. Like
yeah, exactly.
That's what Masons do.
Yeah.
It's better quality than like today's standards dehydrated things,
Yeah.
which is usually pretty okay. But yeah, it rehydrates pretty well. But yeah, a lot of rations and things like that on ship are just food that has been rehydrated, then cooked with for space.
Sweet.
So after a while, you all kind of eat your meal, and at the end of the meal, Jade just sort of like leans back and just says, "I really didn't realize how hungry I was until just when we started eating, and wow."
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks over at Peach, and he says, Are you gonna finish that?
You can go ahead. I'll pass it over.
Okay. He reaches over and takes it and just kind of like goes back to eating. Abriel finishes and just leans back and says, I have to admit, I had my doubts. I had a lot of them. Really, I had zero confidence whatsoever. I mean, I was expecting this to be a total crash and burn situation, like absolute disaster.
I tend to inspire that in people, yeah.
Just,
Aw.
but honestly, I have to say this was good.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go back to reorganizing the med bay.
Good luck.
I'm still waiting on the last bits of the samples that I've been testing.
Oh.
So the last bits of data, but I think I might actually have something interesting, but I'm not sure. I have to wait to see the rest of the results. But as soon as I know, I'll let you know. All right, and she
Have a good
stands
night.
up. And she just sort of makes her way out of the galley.
Patch eat.
Nope.
Okay.
Patch is just sort of sitting here, like observing all of this,
Mhm.
just observing you.
But I was wondering.
Yeah.
Just smearing tomato sauce on his one headlight.
Yeah.
Gross.
Jade sort of like looks thoughtfully after Abriel, still like putting food in his mouth. Says, "She's kind of interesting. I mean, like, I don't really know what her. I don't really know a whole lot about her. I tried to ask her about herself, and it didn't go well. She gave me a look, and I remembered somewhere else I had to be. So, she doesn't really like to talk about herself. I figured that out.
Yeah. It's okay. I think people are entitled to share what they wish, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can still try every once in a while, just for fun.
Yeah, I will. With Abriel out of the room, and a seat freed up, you actually see all of a sudden in her seat, Alma is just sort of there all of a sudden, and she's just sitting.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I didn't really know if I was invited. I mean, I don't eat, so I.
Oh, neither does Patch. You're always invited.
Okay, well, I just figured I mean, I was watching. Is that weird?
No.
I mean, you're just like, you're kind of everywhere. I don't think you really have a choice.
I mean, I try to give people privacy whenever I can.
Well, that's nice.
I
No,
I
you're
don't
fine.
always have control over it, but
That's fine. Well, when you've been out and about, do you ever see anything shifty? Ever see anything a little suspicious, out of place?
I mean,
What a cryptic question. She looks to Alma.
Alma just sort of smiles. Says, "I mean, I'm not. I don't think so. I don't know. That it's not really a lot to go on.
Missing gels?
Oh,
Jesus, Patch is here.
no, I don't think so. No.
I look at Patch real quick and I'm like, I'm not saying I think it's you, but I'm putting aside anything I know about you or anything about anyone here for the moment. Just the facts.
Objectivity is a admirable stance to take. However, I assure you, I did not take any gels. I have no use for such things.
Right.
Bina,
I looked. Yeah, I was going to say.
yeah,
Continue.
you feel some anxiety just rolling in waves
From
off of
Jade?
Jade. Yep.
Yep, I knew it. I knew it from the beginning.
I was waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
I look over and make eye contact with him.
He's not looking at you. He's looking down
I
at his
know.
food.
I'm just gonna keep looking at him until he eventually looks up.
I say, I kind of lower my voice a little bit. I'm like, they're just what are they called? Omnigel units?
No,
Or what's
nanogel.
nanogel? So, is there just
Like a brand name.
what is what is one of them called? Like a patch or a
It's applications basically is how they're
Okay.
measured pretty much because like
Nano apps. Just
Yeah.
like
So I say it's just nanogel that like
And I put my hand up. Yeah, it's just nanogel now. It's just 3 now. It's just some rations here and there now.
Yuna is like actually trying so hard, visibly trying hard not to laugh right now, like out loud, like just like
But what about in the future?
well,
It's the principle of the thing.
so maybe I'm out of line here, but we all just barely know each other, and there's not really established rules. Maybe somebody got a cut on their butt cheek and didn't want to talk about it. And
Patch looks up and says, "Did you get a cut on your hind quarters?"
did they say that to me?
Yeah.
I do. I'm like probably like snorting.
like just is bowled over, is like under the like has put her head under the table and
I'm
is
like-
just like
I'm like-
stifling laughter.
I'm like, no, I didn't, and I would be honest about that right now, but nobody has to.
Alma's just sort of giggling. She just says,
I'm like grinning, but also trying to like
Yeah.
trying
Like
to stay
uncomfortable,
serious.
maybe?
She says,
Trying to make a point. Yeah, I'm
that,
like
that seems like an
"Come on."
oddly specific thing to say, Olim.
I say, listen, when you want to make a convincing, I've read that if you want to make a convincing argument, you make specific examples. I like look at my butt. Like, it was an example, a hypothetical, something like that is likely to have happened, right?
It's sure true, but you could always ask the doctor. I know she's not a gem, but you could always ask her.
At this point, Jade stands up and starts like grabbing people's plates and like just sort of standing.
This has become a
Like
thing.
everyone in the room like has gathered that Jade took them, like yes for his reaction. There's only like 6 people on this ship. Like
So could Mason figure it out too? Obviously, at this point, could
You
he,
know
like,
what?
look at Jade?
Jade is not a very good liar. He's not good at hiding
Established
stuff.
bad liar.
Established bad liar.
the one that was like really injured, right? Like he was
Yeah, he
like
did get hurt.
needed it.
So, Mason, you were saying?
What was it? I don't know. I was saying, to do what I notice.
Oh
that
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
like,
He's like this whole time he was like fully focused on eating, and he was like having conversations with people, and then as soon as this topic came up, he's just suddenly like silent and is clearing plates. Like,
I love him so much.
I think Mason kind of just realizing kind of like how ridiculous this is. It's like, I'm gonna go to my bunk. I'll talk to you later. Stands up and kind of walks away.
Would Olim be likely to pick up on the weirdness of Jade too?
the interesting thing is, out of all of you, I feel like Olim is the least likely to pick up on it.
That's how I feel too, and so Olim doesn't get. He's like, all I'm saying is it's a reasonable thing to do, and it could be any of us.
Bina's gonna also clear plates, like still just like bubbling over every once in a while, and she's gonna join him at the sink and just kind of like lean in and be like, "So was it a butt cut?" And she's gonna put plates in the sink.
There's a sudden, you all at the table hear a sudden clattering as like Jade drops like some of the plates. He goes looks at you, Bina, and says, "What? No, I mean, I didn't. I mean." No, no.
It's just nanogel, buddy. It's okay.
Yep. Yeah. It's
This is not for anyone else to hear.
Oh,
By the
yeah,
way. This
yeah,
is
yeah.
just, I'm not being like loud
Yeah.
and accusatory or anything.
he just says, "Yeah, it's just nanogel."
Is it just nanogel? She suddenly, the way he said
Yes.
that.
I kind of feel sick. I'm going to go lay down.
Buddy. Oh, no, she's gonna like put a hand on her. What? What's going on? What's up?
Nothing. Everything's fine.
Buddy, once again, empath. What?
Okay,
What
okay,
did you
I was
do?
going to tell you. I swear. I was going to
Okay.
okay, so he kind of like gestures you and
Yeah, we go back further back
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
Okay, please don't be mad. I didn't.
Rarely that.
I didn't. This wasn't my idea. I didn't bring her here. But so. Well, I told you I was wandering around looking for Alma, but I didn't. Oh, I didn't find her, but I did maybe find somebody else. I. She's I think she's been here since Sulan.
Oh.
No, she's not one of the colonists. She just I was wandering around. She was hiding out in some of the maintenance access ways. Are you mad?
No. I don't know if I'm ever that very often.
Okay.
I'm more just intrigued. And also, you can just ask April next time for gel. You don't have to take it because she gets cranky.
She kind of gets cranky no matter what, so...
Yeah, but like...
And she would ask me questions.
Then we don't have to have this ordeal at dinner.
She would ask me questions, and I...
Just say you have a butt cut.
No.
I don't know what else to tell you, bud.
Okay, just promise.
Where is she?
She's...
Who?
Well, she's a girl who lived on Sulan, but she hasn't really told me much, but I don't think she had any family. I don't know. I think she was trying to get off. I don't know. She hasn't really told me much, and every time I ask her, she runs away. But every time I ask her any personal questions, she runs away. But
I guess that's kind of fair. Is she in Alma's blind spots?
Mm-hmm. But
you know I'm gonna have to meet her now, right? That's where this has to go.
Yeah, but maybe let me talk to her first and tell her, because otherwise, I mean, it took...
Yeah, that makes sense,
It took me a really long time to get her to actually, like, get close enough so that I could actually give her food and things. Like, it took a long time. So maybe just...
Okay, well, you have to tell her I'm really cool.
Okay.
Okay.
He just sort of looks at his feet and he says, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I was going to tell you, I swear. I just wanted to make sure that she was okay first, and then wanted to make sure that and you can see as you're looking at him, like, you don't even have to be an empath here to, like, sort of like see some of this. You can see that, like, he's red, like, beet red. And, like, immediately, like, you just, like, without even being an empath, you can tell that whatever's going on, Jade has a crush on whoever this is. There's a little bit
Bina will not acknowledge it, but inwardly make note.
There's a little bit of that you can feel, and she just says, yeah, I'll talk to her, and I'll try to...
Well, hold on. Bina's gonna turn around back to the food stuff, and she's gonna find, like, a little, like, a plate in a container and, like, fill up a full meal, get like a drink pack or whatever, and be like, okay, let's go.
Oh, right now.
Right now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'll let you go in first.
Okay.
But right now.
Yeah. He turns to lead you. Meanwhile, while this is happening, you are all at the table. Peach, you see your terminal starts flashing, like, with that you're getting a communication. And pulling it up, you see, like, the display comes up, and you see Wynn's face as they lean in closely. We have another shuttle coming in. I'm unidentified, but they're not responding to hails or anything like that. Might need all of you. I'm not sure. I have a bad feeling about this. Olivia, I think you're muted.
It was. Is Bina in the room still, or Bina's still in the other room?
You can still see her talking to Jade.
We're talking.
Yeah, you can see her talking to Jade.
Okay. Well, since Olin's here, Ola, would you be able to check if the ship was... Actually, Alma's here. Alma, can you check to see if that ship is hostile? Can you scan it at all?
I can do a quick sweep. Yeah. Give me a second. And you watch as her eyes just go like that sort of like greenish purplish sort of sheen as she just sort of she's silent for a moment and then comes back to herself. She says, I don't know. I think Wynn's right. I think there's cause for concern. Whatever that shuttle is, whoever's in it, they don't want to be scanned. There's some kind of shielding that my sensors aren't able to penetrate. I've got nothing.
Oh man, I like start getting ready to like putting my shoes on and stuff. I'm like, I'm too full for this.
Thing just feels like Silver Break to me.
I like look back over my shoulder. Like we were bound to see them again sometime. They're definitely caught up in this.
All right.
When
we'll be there.
Wynn nods, says, make it fast. I want to make sure that we're ready, whatever it is.
Okay.
The communication cuts out. And just at this point is when you would see like Bina and Jade turning to make their way down the hall. Like away from where you currently are.
Hey, we have like on their way out, like as they're like kind of walking out, we're like, he's just gonna kind of raise her and be like, hey guys, we have a little bit of a concern. Were you something?
Like crisis concern, or I can be back in 20 minutes concern?
There's a shuttle approaching.
Bina's just gonna like sigh and then turn to Jade and pass the plate and food to him and be like, rain check. And then she's gonna turn around and like send him to go bring her food.
In spite of everything, it's impossible for you not to sense the relief as you turn away.
And then Bina's gonna be like, where do they need us?
And with that, we will quickly cut to everybody at the command center gathering around Wynn as Wynn is sort of looking and at the displays. Now, when you left, Peach, Wynn was the last person in this room, but now there's a bunch of people in here, probably like a dozen or so, who are like moving quickly. Sort of everybody seems to be on high alert as you're moving about. Moving kind of towards where Wynn is to kind of get a better look at what they're looking at. Wynn looks up and says, okay, at the moment, they are just entering range of Olam's modified tractor beams and still haven't answered any hails, but it's a small shuttle. It's unlikely that they have any significant force, nothing that we could... I mean, it's entirely possible that it's a delegation from Silverbreak with a response, but I don't know. Something about radio silence just has me on edge.
When we scan things, can we pick up like particular tech signatures? Like when Alma scanned, is there any way she would have known if the tech on board was Silverbreak? Is that anything that we could have figured out, or is that out of our capability?
It's sort of out of capability, mainly because like even Silverbreak has shuttle, like they don't necessarily make their own craft, right? Like some of their craft come from other corporations, and so like there's not really any signature tech except
and there
for
was nothing to look for that.
Except for like the only time that you would find something that might be telling in that way is like on their signature ship, such as Ellis's capital ship and other like their capital ships basically. Those are the ones that would maybe have some sort of signature in that way, but a shuttle like this, probably not.
I mean, the fact that we weren't able to scan, like they were shielded is kind of like sus. I mean,
the radio silence I don't like.
Wynn says, well, I mean, as the heroes of the hour, it's your call. Do we let them land or not?
I mean, did you give them an ultimatum? If they don't give us anything, they're gonna be received with hostile intent. Like, do they know that?
I did my best, but
Hmm.
still nothing. It's kind of weird. I'm not even entirely sure that our communication got through. I don't know. There's some weird readings here, and I'm not saying.
Anything that are they showing it to us?
Yeah. I'm not.
Ace.
I'm not saying we're being jammed, but because it doesn't really look like that. But
Things related to ships.
mm-hmm.
Is there anything familiar about any of the readings that they have here?
At a quick glance, not really. But if you want to do a little bit more,
Yes.
more scrutiny, yeah, it would be an intellect roll. Difficulty is 3.
Okay. Backstory mechanic. Potentially.
Not in this case.
Okay. Piloting. Just knowing things about ships in any way.
No.
Okay. I will spend just to get down 1.
Okay. So
Because with my second recovery roll, I made it back up to full because I rolled max.
cool.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
That is down 2 because I have an edge, and then
So 6 or better.
6 or better. 9.
Okay. So the reason it doesn't look like you're being jammed, is because it's not a typical signal jammer that is being employed here. It's not something that distorts or intercepts the signal. This is a jammer that is operating at the source, which is preventing transmissions from even being sent. In the first place.
So there's something here that's
It's
muffling it.
it's possible, although certain iterations of this technology exist that can be like targeted. It's sort of like a targeted disruption. So they exist. They're not common, but they exist.
Is it tech that Silverbreak makes?
Makes, I don't know, but certainly it's something that they could easily get their hands on. But as you're looking at it, what you're realizing is that you're not looking at scrambling tech here. That has a pretty specific signature. What you're looking at is something that's essentially just like, it's essentially feeding back to the comms, like bouncing the signal back to the comms and preventing them from even being sent, essentially. It's much more sophisticated technology, much more effective. And
Is this like anything I have ever seen before?
no, you've only ever heard of this stuff.
Bean's kind of like looking, like glancing over everything really quickly, and she's like, "They're definitely not receiving hails.
Wynn nods. So
This is high grade. This is high grade stuff."
So the simplest explanation is that somebody on that shuttle doesn't want us contacting anybody. Other explanation might be something else that's totally unrelated to the shuttle.
Do we know if your initial message to Silverbreak even got out? How long has this been going on?
I don't know. I only noticed it when the shuttle came in and I started trying to hail them.
Well, we might have to go out and meet them in person if this isn't working.
It's shuttle sized. It's small. This isn't like like maybe like 5 people max type of ship, or
Yep.
like. Okay.
Can I try and hail the Awakener to see if it works properly?
Yeah, so just sort of like doing like local comms, right? Like the same way that Wynn.
Yeah, like I want to try local, and then like I don't know who else we could call who's far away.
Yeah.
That wouldn't.
I mean,
go weird.
reaching out to Awakener, you see Wynn's face sort of come up. He says, "Yeah, what's up?"
Jade.
Or sorry, yeah, Jade. Sorry.
Oh, hi Jade. I was just testing the comms. We've had some issues.
Yeah, Alma said something just now, that something about long range communications being.
What did Alma say?
Well, here, and he see like moves, and you can see that Alma's like right next to him, and she
Hands
looks,
the phone to Alma.
yeah, she looks in, she says There's something wrong with the long-range communications. They're being disrupted in some way. Very sophisticated technology. I'm not entirely sure I am familiar with it. I can try to get around it, but I'm not sure I have that ability.
I mean, try if you can.
I'll see what I can
This
do.
incoming ship, we can't contact them.
That doesn't surprise me. Probably won't be able to contact anybody.
Did this just start happening?
I am not sure. It looks like it's a signal that's been going for some time, but I'm not entirely sure how long. It's difficult to trace a starting point.
And Alma, can you tell if it is coming from this planet? It's not coming from an outward source.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do what you can and let us know if anything comes up.
Wynn speaks up and says, "There's a bit of a time situation here. What are we doing?"
I mean, there aren't going to be many on the ship, but if they're like us, which is a possibility, that could be bad. And if we can't get a hold of them, we need defensive measures. They won't let us contact them. We can't talk to them. We need to be ready.
What do you mean, like us? Like I kind of toss it, like lift an object off the ground.
Yeah.
Wynn sort of like starts at that, and their eyes go wide and they say, "Not rumors. Got it."
Oops.
Okay.
When could you pull up an image of the ship? Is that possible?
Sure. Although at this point you can pretty much look out the window and see them. They reach up and you can see like the hollow image projected. It's a generic looking shuttle. Like Bina suspected, maybe 5 people max.
Okay. Question for the GM. Can I, looking at the ship, try and use premonition to try and get kind of a glimpse of what is happening there? Because premonition says I can learn one random fact about a creature or location that is pertinent to a topic you designate.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic is
This.
the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of far away, so if I have to spend a lot for it, that's fair.
No, I don't think that really matters.
It doesn't say, so.
No. So I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I'm going to just give you a piece of information. Okay. So in the future we can sort of talk about whether or not like you can.
It might have a designated spend in the ability.
Premonition is a 2 intellect.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm
okay.
talking about. I'm saying
But,
that in the future we can talk about like whether or not it's feasible for you to designate a specific piece of information you want to know, but for now I'm just going to give you one. What you can tell, so as you sort of reach out, suddenly you're seeing you're seeing a single individual activating a jamming sequence on board the shuttle. That's pretty much what you get. At this point, Wynn says, It's almost out of our hands. Now or never. Stop him or let him go."
They're jamming.
Wynn immediately reaches down and just slams the button. And you watch. Actually, you can literally look out and see this happening. You watch as the shuttle suddenly, as it's coming down for approach to one of the landing platforms, just wobbles violently, just sort of wobbles in the air and starts losing altitude rapidly. You watch as the shuttle goes down, and Bina, this is to you as you're watching this. you're not entirely sure that anybody other than you could pull this off. But what you're watching as the shuttle is like, it's leveling off.
Managing?
It's leveling off where like it was going sort of into a nosedive. Suddenly the ship, like the rear of the ship, just drops with the nose fully up as the ship comes down, just sort of at this angle, coming down towards the platform. And as it gets there, you can see as it clips the edge of the aft of the ship, clips the edge of the platform, and lands and just sort of skids and does a spin. And as it's like spinning across the platform, it reaches just towards the edge, where you can see as it slowly skids to a halt right on the edge of the platform just before the drop, and then just sort of stabilizes where you like on the platform, and you can see as like a smoke trail starts rising from the shuttle itself.
Are we looking at a view screen of this, or
No,
are we
you
looking
watched
out the window
window as watching this happen.
Jeez.
Wynn just sort of stares and looks up, says, "Looks like we're gonna have company."
Let's get ready for him then.
All right. And the group of you make your way towards the
Goggles on, hood up, like
Yeah.
we need no faces. Like
yeah.
He's probably a little behind, just because I think that probably was weird for her.
yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna cut, and we'll this is in sort of our final scene of this evening. We're gonna cut to all of you as the door to the platform opens, and as you are all like you as well as several armed members of the resistance make their way
good.
out onto the platform itself, or onto the catwalk that leads out towards the platform. You can see from here the shuttle. It's a pretty small shuttle, much smaller than the drop shuttles that you saw earlier. This one is just sort of from this angle, you can see what a razor's edge that shuttle managed to stop on. As like about 40% of the shuttle is over the edge of the platform. As you're making your way over, walking out onto the platform, the resistance has like moved well ahead of you and have now like taken up positions around the shuttle. As you're still kind of making your way down the platform, you watch as the shuttle there's no activity from the shuttle whatsoever. You can hear the comm chatter from the resistance as some of them are saying, "All right, position secured. No movement."
How close are we? Like, am I close enough to feel inside, or are we too far for
You're
that?
probably right now. I'd say you're probably in the vicinity of like maybe 100 feet away or so.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I can't feel that far, I don't think.
As like because basically like I imagine you're sort of like making your way up, and the resistance they just ran.
Booked it, yeah.
They just
Got it.
booked it out. You can hear the comm chatter continuing as one of them just says, "Wait, I think I see movement from inside the cockpit. It's hard to tell from here, but okay, hold on. I see movement. The shuttle bay doors are opening. All right, everybody stand ready. Hold your fire until and then at that you hear the cutoff as all of a sudden from your position you can see just like a sudden burst of energy from that direction as two of the resistance just go flying over the edge and just go flying completely over the edge of the platform and falling. You watch as a single individual leaps from the shuttle and immediately just sort of from this distance it's hard to see much, but you can see from this distance clad in like very like tactical gear, head to toe tactical gear, as the individual jumps out and immediately you watch as even from this distance it's not hard to see the kind of crackling energy from a plasma blade as like they land and just immediately gunfire opens, and this individual even from this distance you can see as they just sort of move faster, almost faster than the eye can track.
No.
Like not any sort of like not you can still see them, but they seem to be all over the place. Watching as
Speed starts.
after a moment, it's not quite that. It is movement. You can track them moving, but it's fast. They are fast, and you watch in sort of like as they just leap kind of over one of the resistance fighters, slashing down below them as that individual goes sprawling, landing kind of within a wide stance, blade outstretched, immediately launching into a roll, stabbing upward at the next resistance fighter. They just sort of moving around. The resistance fighters are having a difficult time tracking them, and finally,
as soon as they came out, I'm running. I don't know about you guys, but
no. By the time you reach the platform, you watch as the last two resistance fighters are standing, firing as this individual is like zigzagging back and forth away from them, runs up onto the shuttle, leaps into the air, and sustains in the air as they turn. And you watch as the arms cross, they release just a burst of that same energy blast that you saw, and the last two remaining just skid across, like smoking bodies that go skidding across the platform, as the individual like turns a like completely visored, helmeted head towards all of you and just lands slowly, slowly touches down onto the platform. The head turns in your direction and just says, you can hear from behind the mask just a heavily filtered voice that just says, "I thought I might find you here. You're hard to find. Not hard enough." That's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh my god. I knew it. I knew it was one of us. I knew it.
Oh, no. This seems like a bad guy. Yikes.
Oh man.
Maybe.
All
Only
right.
thing that can stop a bad guy.
The good guy with a superpower. Okay.
Okay. Well.
Oh my god. This episode, you guys.
There's a lot.
Where are we?
Yeah.
All right. Well.
This all happened in like a day. Like.
Yeah. I mean, well, some of the preparation stuff happened in the course of like.
Couple days.
Yeah. A couple days.
Maybe
but
3 days.
yeah. But also, hi Geek Outs. Good timing.
Welcome.
So. Yes, as Gemini Lightning says, that was in fact loaded.
Oh gosh.
I'm
glad you got to catch it live, Gemini Lightning, and hello Geek Outs. That was
yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
My face muscles hurt from I don't know what, like a lot of different things.
Hashtag butt cut.
Hashtag butt cut.
That is not the takeaway from this.
Hashtag release the
That's
butt
all we
cut.
need to know about this episode.
Hashtag release the
Nothing
butt
else
cut.
was emotional or stressful. This whole episode was just hashtag butt cut.
Yeah.
Butt cut. All right.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, man, I don't even know how to like sign this one off. Well,
Oh, thanks for the
thanks
bits.
so much for the bits. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Popcorn
Popcorn
Lizard.
Lizard.
Aw.
And welcome. I don't think I've seen you in the chat here before, so welcome. What a first episode to tune into.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this is the time. So I can almost hear like John cackling at all of this because we definitely talked about this a little bit, but
Yeah, they left writer's room to go to the staff room to share secrets, and then came back to writer's room to be like, "Oh," and I was like, "Fuck you!" Like,
Popcorn Lizard lurks a lot. Well, you know what? As we've said many times, but not recently enough, we love our lurkers here.
lurkers.
So
Love lurkers. I'm a lurker, except when I'm on camera. Then I can't
Right.
lurk. I gotta have a face.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, everybody, we're gonna sign off. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. This week on Friday, we have an episode of Ramblemancy, where we will be talking Did we actually decide what we were talking about? I don't think we did.
Yeah, we're talking about monsters.
Oh, monsters. That's right. We're talking about monsters. I forgot that
Yeah.
we decided that. I'm excited again. All right.
Yeah, me too. Come hang Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific. Rainbow Mancy's fun. We just hang out and talk about shit. I had a lot of fun last week.
Yeah.
Join us.
I'm very excited. So we're gonna be doing that. If you're not already on the Discord, I mean, I can't make you join, but you should, because if you're subscribed on Twitch, you get access to our sweet Patreon rewards as well. So, and you gotta be on the Discord to get them. So, thank you, Caitlin. All right, we're gonna go. Good night, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay hopeful, and we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night, everybody.
Go see Productions. Bye.
Good night. Or whatever.